Between incredible gameplay reveals and the mini games we've been busy playing, there's a ton to unpack and discuss on episode 261. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the It's Obvious podcast. My name is Garrett Drake. I'm joined online by Jacob Alka.
Good morning, gentlemen.
And Preston Pugh.
Good morning, boys.
How are you, boys? I've missed you. It's been at least another month since we've done this podcast, but at least we're all back together again.
Yes, Preston, welcome back. And Garrett, too.
It's good to be here, as always.
It's good to be here.
It's a miracle we got started. My sweet doggy really wants to play. He looks very sad right now because I can't play.
Oh, you're the worst.
Man, he looks so depressed. It kind of like concerning. He is so excited a second ago. But I love him nonetheless. How are you guys? What have you been up to?
Been busy. Lots of work. Lots of flying or driving around trying to scrap together some last minute things for my wedding trip this coming weekend.
Wedding trip?
My cousin's getting married in Tennessee. Okay. So I've been going through the process of buying another suit. I got a new watch, got some new shoes.
Wow.
So pretty much everything for the suit is new. So
that's exciting.
The whole ensemble. So I'm excited. I tried everything on last night. It looks good.
You're looking sharp?
Oh, yeah.
Sharp dressed man?
Yes, sir. I think I might get a different dress shirt. I think I might go get like a light blue or a light purple. My suit is like light gray, so.
Yeah, anything blue is always in your favor, Jacob. Makes your eyes pop. I've always noticed that.
Yeah.
Including the shirt you're wearing now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm probably wearing a hat, so you probably can't see them very well. But I guess you can, yeah. But yeah. That's kind of what I've been doing.
Plenty of pictures are taken. I'd love to see you in your new fit.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure we'll snap some pictures at some point.
Yeah, what part of Tennessee is it in?
I think it's called Jackson. It's east of Chattanooga, maybe, or east of Nashville. One of the two.
Nice.
So,
are you going to stay for more than a day? Or are you going to be there for a couple of days?
I might stay Saturday and Sunday night.
Nice.
Definitely Saturday night. The wedding's on a Sunday. So.
Cool. I'll be in Nashville in a couple weeks for a day or two. Gotcha. So that'll be fun. I haven't been to Nashville in a while.
You got work up there?
It's like a work celebration thing. There's an artist named Jared James Nichols we did a music video for recently, and we all just kind of hit it off and became friends. So he and his team invited us to this. He's being like, I have the word indoctrination in my mind from playing Mass Effect, not indoctrinated, inducted into like to the Gibson Hall of Fame or something, or the Gibson family, because he's just a really good guitar player. So we're going to like the ceremony and to a dinner and to hang out with them for a night. So it was a nice invitation, but that should be fun.
Nice,
dude.
But looking forward to that.
Is that actually at like the Gibson store at Opry Mills?
I'm assuming it is. I haven't heard the details of exactly where it's being held. I'm assuming that's where it's at. But that'll be fun.
Indeed.
I really like Tennessee. I like Nashville and Chattanooga a lot.
I do too.
So that's those are two cities. I know they're both like, especially Nashville is just as slammed as Atlanta is now. But if I was ever given an opportunity to move anywhere else in the Southeast, I'd gladly move to either of those cities. If I had to choose one, probably Nashville, but Chattanooga really is an awesome like weekend trip. Super easy drive from Atlanta too. It's like 2 hours.
Speaking of cities being busy, I was driving around in circles for about 15 minutes yesterday trying to find a parking spot in Atlanta. It was a nightmare.
What were you doing in Atlanta?
I went down to Evan's place.
I forgot he lives down here now.
Yeah, do you know where he lives? He lives really close to where you used to live. I don't know where you live
like in
now.
West Midtown?
Yeah, he lives like, do you know where Star Metals is? It's like a brand new complex. It's like a block away from Orangebees and Little Trouble.
Okay, I've probably walked past it or driven past it 100 times.
But yeah, I circled that building several times and I just couldn't find a spot. So I eventually just went
He doesn't have a parking deck?
He does, but I didn't know this. I didn't know it was general access until I got there.
You didn't try calling him?
No.
Dang. Was it just the two of you?
Yeah.
Man, I haven't hung out with you boys in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm glad they would at any time.
I was hoping to go down there and get in the pool, but it was a little brisky yesterday.
A little brisky this morning. It felt nice.
Oh, really? Haven't been
Dude,
outside
last
yet.
night was so beautiful in this city. I could not believe it. I think it was like a flat 70 degrees. There's a light breeze,
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous sunset. I went on a long walk with Den.
Nice.
It was just magical.
I saw your story of you and him on the balcony, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where we
That was
ended the
pleasant.
day. He loves that spot.
What else was I gonna say? Oh, did you guys see that moon like a week ago? Did you see how big it was in the sky?
I think I missed that moon.
I don't remember what
Love a good moon.
was. Like it was just giant. Like I was driving to my house and it was just massive, and it was like right in front of me.
I
Like
always like to
it wasn't like
pretend,
up in the sky. It was like in front of me.
When the moon looks gigantic, I always like to pretend it's like a neighboring planet that we could travel to. Obviously, we can travel to the moon, but not us. But astronauts are capable of traveling to the moon. But having played a lot of sci-fi games in my day, and recently getting back into Mass Effect,
Mm-hmm.
I like to think it's a neighboring planet with aliens on it that we can go visit,
Indeed.
help liberate a civilization or something from the Geth invasion.
God, those guys suck.
Yeah, dude. We'll get to that, though. I'm excited to talk about it.
Indeed.
Preston, what's been going on in your world? I know you just wrapped up a pretty massive job, right? Or you think you've wrapped it up?
Almost. I've got one more week of commissioning left, which is next week, I believe. But yeah, I've been in Fort Lauderdale for the past like 6 weeks, flying, back and forth. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's just been
I like
taking
that city.
up. Yeah, I don't know if I really had enough time to decide if I liked it or not. I can say I absolutely hated how many people were there. It made getting anywhere, I'm talking like anywhere within like a mile or two, just horrific. Just like going to a Home Depot or just like going to get some lunch down the street would turn into like an hour ordeal because there were just a million people trying to trying to get in and out of like these shopping centers or whatever they're called, strip malls. So yeah, definitely did not like that at all. But yeah, the whole rest of the time I was just at this medical facility that I was working at. But yeah, I pretty much had been doing that for the past 6 weeks. I thankfully had this past week off, so I was able to just completely decompress and just play some video games, hang out, sleep a lot, just kind of do whatever I wanted to for the first time in a while. So that was incredibly nice. But flying back out to Bethesda tomorrow, and gonna be there for a week.
Bethesda Game Studios.
Yeah, I wish. But yeah, out near Washington. I mean, yeah, the city where they're based out of. But next week after that, I'll be back in Fort Lauderdale to actually finish that project up.
Cool.
But yeah, it's nice to be back with this job though, and have jobs that are this big to to be working on. So better than not having any work.
That's very true.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm also trying to get used to I'm using some new headphones for this podcast because my old ones are broken, and these cancel out
noise,
everything. So it is incredibly hard to like talk and focus on what I'm saying because it's so dead silence. So I apologize.
Do those have the built-in like feedback to where you can hear your own voice like through the microphone?
They probably do, but I don't know how to activate it, and I don't want to risk pushing any buttons right now and messing up my recording.
Actually, I don't think those do, because I remember reviewing them. That was one of my gripes.
Oh yeah,
because noise canceling headphones, I feel like need that feature. You don't always need that, but especially for something like this, it's helpful to have.
Yeah,
because you can't even hear your own voice half the time.
Yeah,
it's weird, like always being able to hear yourself speak at any other point when you're speaking, except when you're wearing these headphones, and it just throws you off. I agree.
These might be. I mean, these are incredible to like actually play like a single player game with, just because of how good the audio is. But yeah, these might not be the best to podcast in, but this is really my only choice at the moment.
You'll get used to them.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. But in that time, I have, well, I guess just since the last time we did a podcast, I've played a crap ton of games. And I can't wait to talk about a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, anything else going on in your lives you want to talk about before we talk about what we've been playing?
I don't think so.
Not on my end.
Cool. Preston chugging his Pepto. Oh.
Go.
What have you guys been playing?
Lots of stuff.
Man,
I know
what
we've been
haven't I
playing a lot
been
of the
playing?
same things too, so let's kind of coordinate this. Jacob, what have you been playing that Preston and I probably haven't played?
That's a good way to start, I think. So you guys may or may not be happy to know that I've kind of shelved World of Warcraft for a little bit.
Yeah, for now.
I'm jumping on maybe once or twice a week to raid with the guild, but other than that, really not playing it right now. It's kind of boring, and honestly, I've done pretty much everything that I want to do at this point till we get some new content. So I don't really feel the need to keep playing it that much. So that's kind of freed me up to play a lot of other stuff, which is nice. The other of which you guys probably haven't been playing is Overwatch. I'm getting slightly a little more interested in Overwatch again. Not really sure what it is, to be exact. I saw an ad for a skin that it's like they do these like little promotional events week, or like whenever there's a new seasonal event, like where they release like new skins and new like holiday themes and stuff like that. They'll have like if it takes a place over 3 weeks, they'll have like an event each week, and you'll have a chance to unlock a skin once each of those 3 weeks. So the first week was this cool Anna skin. I was like, oh, I want to get that. So I jumped back into Overwatch. I grinded out some games and got the skin. So that was cool. And through that process, I kind of just got, slightly addicted to Overwatch again. So I've just kind of been playing some support, been playing a little tank, and it's just been doing quick play, just casual games, and it's been a good time. I think at the end of the day, Overwatch is just a fun game, and especially if you're playing with friends. Like I've been playing with a few guildies through WoW, and it's just a good time when you're all on voice and communicating, and actually working as a team, as opposed to just jumping into a quick play match where you're just with 5 other random people and no one's communicating. Everyone's just playing what they want to, So it's I think Overwatch is at its best when you're like playing with friends and communicating and working as a team, which is
Absolutely.
to the surprise of no one. But yeah, it's been a whole lot of fun. But I think the only other things I've been playing besides those 2 that I've stated are Village, Resident Evil Village, and then also Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which I think all of us have been playing.
Yes.
So if you guys have, I think that's a good thing. Like, let's all talk about like what we've been playing that we haven't each played, and then we'll jump into the 2 big ones, I think.
I think the only 2 things I've been playing aside from the big ones that have been out recently are Halo and Sekiro. Master Chief Collection continues to be just wonderful with friends. Crossplay especially has been awesome. So I've been playing with Zach and one of his coworkers recently, or just the other night, but I think we're probably going to play more because we won like 95% of our matches. It was awesome. So that was super fun. And Sekiro, I'm on the final boss, and I've tried to fight him a couple of times. At the time, I think Mass Effect came out, and Returnal, and Resident Evil 8. So I got distracted by all of those. So I'll go back and beat him eventually, but made it at the final boss. It's been a phenomenal game. And a couple of my complaints that I shared on the previous episode, whenever that was, were like certain things like, oh, you got to have Divine Confetti to make some bosses easier. Like I kind of got over that because some bosses you can just finally figure out how to fight, and it's fine. And the little merchant at the dilapidated temple sells divine confetti, so you can always just grind and buy some if you need it. But it turned out not to be a big deal with some bosses, and some of the fights in that game are just so epic when you just straight up fight the bosses. It's sick. So
that last boss is challenging though.
Yeah,
he's tricky.
Me a while. He's tricky. I just got to learn his moveset.
Can you get past the first phase?
Yeah. I always make it to a second phase and then I get slaughtered.
That's
I've only tried to fight him twice, so. But I'll eventually go back to beat him.
Have you fought every single boss that you can?
All of them, but I fought all the big main ones. The only ones I haven't killed are like the side headless guys. Like all the ones that are scattered throughout the world.
The big fire monkey thing?
Fire monkey?
The giant beast?
I think that one's optional.
I
It
think
is.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, you would
don't
know.
think I ever killed it.
I'm trying to jog my memory on
It's
all
like
the
a
bosses I fought.
massive, like on fire monster.
It takes place in the same area as the first boss, I'm pretty sure. Right? The
I
guy
don't
on the
think
horse?
you. I don't think you fought him. If you have to think.
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
yeah, I did fight
Oh,
him.
you did?
I did fight
Okay.
him. Yep, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I did fight him. I had to watch so many guides for that too.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely a. You need some different strategies.
Yeah,
For
because remember you have to take that path like all the way off the main path before you go to the final boss, all the way down there to fight him. You fight like mini bosses all the way to him. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I looked online just because I was curious because I never want to repeat what I did with my original Bloodborne playthrough where I missed like 3 or 4 bosses and and then obviously I was new to the franchise. I didn't know you could do that.
Mhm.
With every Souls game I've played in recent years, I've made sure I wanted to beat at least all the main ones. So if I killed a few more headless, I think I had 3 headless left that I could have killed. I would have had like a slight boost in attack power, or whatever, from the prayer beads. But I think ultimately it wouldn't make that much of a difference for the final boss. So yeah, it's been killer. Definitely probably my I wouldn't say it's my favorite world that From Software's created, but in terms of gameplay, it's my favorite From Software game easily. So
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I forgot what that boss is called. It's the really lame boss. It's like the dragon. But I
Mhm.
love its whole area. I thought that whole area was really fun to go through. Especially
Yeah.
like grappling onto roofs and, just sort of like jumping on people and trying to do it as stealthily as possible was always
Mhm.
fun.
For sure.
Killer game, dude. Killer game.
Indeed.
So what do you guys want to talk about first? You want to talk about Village or Preston? What have you been playing aside from the stuff we've all been playing?
I think the only thing that I've played that y'all haven't, which, well, I don't think that's technically true, is I know you've played Returnal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, have you played Returnal?
Nope.
I'll talk a little bit about Returnal. I really enjoy Returnal. I think it is a really fun game to just kind of hop in for a run or two and then jump out. I'm not like obsessed with it or anything, but it is definitely a game that I play at least once a day, just to see if I can get any further. I'm in like the 6th biome right now, and it's a lot harder than the other biomes I have felt. I honestly haven't really I haven't really thought the game has been that hard up until this point, and I don't necessarily think it's like ridiculously hard. I just haven't sat down. I think for this biome I might have to sit down and grind it out just a little bit, play a few times in a row just to get the hang of it. Because there are these enemies, these like robots that shoot rockets at you, and they first show up in the 3rd biome, and they're just a pain in the butt, and you finally get past them, and they're showing up again in the 6th biome, so I really have to figure out how to effectively take out these things to, I think, be successful in this biome. So I think that's the main enemy that's really holding me up. But really enjoying it, really enjoying the boss fights, especially the 3rd biome boss fight was freaking awesome. And I'm also enjoying the story that's being sprinkled in throughout the game. I'm very interested to see where it goes, and especially like how the game ends with the boss, like what the final boss could be, and how the story wraps up. So anything you want to add to that, Garrett?
Yeah, I also am not in love with it, but I do consider it just really awesome in every way. I mean, graphically, it's definitely cool. It isn't like groundbreaking to the point where like Ratchet and Clank and even the most recent Horizon demo, which we'll get to, look unbelievable visually.
Yeah.
And as I've said over the years on this podcast, visuals are like on the bottom of the totem pole for me when it comes to importance in a video game. But I do appreciate, especially stepping into a next generation, seeing good looking games. And Returnal does look awesome. Especially just the ways in which the enemies project all these different attacks, and like the different ways you can deal with the attacks, and just how visually and stimulating all of the enemies are when they're attacking you and you're dodging around and firing. Mechanically, it feels phenomenal. I mean, dodging, sprinting, jumping, shooting any of the weapons is cool. I think the reason why I haven't really sat down and hunkered through it, because I've made it to like toward the end of the second biome, but I've only gone through it twice and I died both times. Mainly because I get to a point where I just start underestimating enemies, and I get kind of lazy toward the end of my runs, and I get killed, and I'm like, dang it, I guess I got to take this a little more seriously. I think the reason why I haven't gotten through the majority of the game is because you do really have to commit. And the first time I played, I got all the way toward the end of the second biome, and I was like, all right, well, I have to go to work. I had to do something, so I just put my console in rest mode. But I can't remember what it was. It was either my internet went out or something that disconnected me, and I had the online services enabled originally for the game, and something about that reset me. So I had to start over, and I was so mad. But every time you play, obviously, you have to have at least 45 minutes to an hour to make any significant progress. And recently, I haven't had the time to commit to that. But the funny thing is, I've had plenty of time to play Mass Effect, 'cause I've just been so addicted to it again. But I've not put in the time necessary to really progress in Returnal. But I have really enjoyed it. The mysterious story is pretty cool. It's been fun to uncover that stuff along the way. And it's definitely one of the more engaging roguelikes I've ever played. I've only played a handful, and I've never been grabbed by any of them. And I think it was in Girlfriend Reviews, they had a meme or a GIF or something in their review of someone that's like, I can't remember what it was from, and it's like, I don't think I like this style or something, but it's something so relatable, because every time I play a roguelike, I'm like, man, I just can't get into this. But Returnal's a little different. I think they've done some cool stuff to make it really interesting as you go. Mm-hmm. All the weapons are fun. The pistol's cool. All the different variations of each weapon, and just how much depth there is to each run, I think is what keeps me coming back. I know it's very similar. And what's that game that came out recently? When Hades. You're in hell, Hades. Yeah, it's very similar to Hades in that regard. It's like every run, there's always like different little tweaks that make it interesting. So I love the risk and reward factor of many of them too. Like choosing, like, do I want to buy the space doll so I can revive, or do I want to buy this attachment or whatever that may hinder me this way but benefit me this way? And it's ultimately a game of chance, which is kind of exhilarating too, because you never know what you're going to get as you're going along. So very cool game, and I know it's easy to say that, and for someone to perceive it as just being another fanboy. Oh, it's a Sony game, dude, so of course it's cool. But it really is awesome, and there will come a point where I sit down and play that. And originally I thought, like, oh, I'm going to do Resident Evil, then I'm going to do Returnal, then Ratchet and Clank, and then I'll get to Mass Effect later on. But everyone talking about Mass Effect recently, I just couldn't resist it. I had to jump into it. So I have put Returnal on the old backlog. I will get back to it probably after I beat Sekiro's final boss. So Returnal probably late summer, I'd imagine, after Ratchet and Clank. I'll get back to it. So because Mass Effect's going to keep me busy until Ratchet and Clank easy. So even probably after the fact. So yeah, Returnal's rad, dude. Yeah, very expensive, but definitely rad. So I'm not really complaining about the $70 price tag. It's just paying full price for that game. I was like, man, I feel like I hadn't just bought a game flat out in a while. So forgot what that felt like. So I know I got to get my money's worth. So I intend to beat it at some point.
For sure. Same here.
So.
Yeah, but besides Returnal, the only other thing that I've played that not all y'all have played is Nier Replicant. And man, Nier Replicant is a game that is just constantly on my mind, whether it just be the story or the soundtrack. I'm pretty much always thinking about it. It is a just depressing game. The story is just so sad, and I've beaten it 2 times now. I've gotten ending A and B, and the ending to B revealed or kind of confirmed what I thought was going on to some extent. And like I said, it's just so sad. So I'm just I can't even imagine what ending C or D or E are going to reveal. That makes me sadder than I already am. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. I love the world. I love the characters. Like I said, I absolutely adore the soundtrack, dude. Just running around the main village, with the Song of the Ancients playing, and it's like the closer you get to the tavern, vocals come in because one of the characters, I think it's Devila. There's two twins that you actually see in Automata, Devila and Popola, these two redheaded girls, and one of them is in the tavern actually singing the song. So like every time you pass it, the vocals will kind of come in, and as you get further away, it just becomes instrumental, and I just love that.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's not to the extent of like what Automata does, where like as you progress through an area, the music gets fuller and fuller. It's not to that extent. That's pretty much as far as it goes, is just with those vocals. But just coming back to like this safe haven village just makes it feel like just so peaceful there. But like just so much just like going on. Like I said, so much depressing stuff is going on. It's very much like a false sense of security. But when I first started this game, I was actually liking it more than Automata. I just thought the story was more like relatable, because the whole premise of the story is you are just this protagonist that you name, and your sister Yona has this disease that you're trying to find a cure for her, and that's just a lot more relatable, trying to help your sister than being an android trying to find out what had happened to humans, which that is very like compelling, and I was engaged in it. But it's definitely like playing as a human is easier to relate to than just playing as some android wearing a maid outfit flying around with a robot in her ass cheeks hanging out, well, which I'm completely down for, but
Yeah, I didn't know you played a human in the new one, or the remake.
So this game takes place like a long time before Automata. So there's you have this instead of having a pod with you like in Automata, you have this magical book named Grimoire Weiss. And you're shooting like spells out, and you have magic abilities that you can use. That's and cool. He is he actually talks to you. He's one of the main characters of the game. He's cool, but I don't want to spoil anything from this game. It's very important to not know anything about this story. But just like Automata, I'm going to say kind of not like Automata. People kind of exaggerate a little bit with Automata with the multiple playthroughs. Essentially, you play through Automata as one character, then you play through the same thing from another character's perspective, and then once both of those stories come to an end, you go forward, like you play through the rest of the game. So when people are like, oh, there's like all these endings, you're not playing through the same thing over and over again. However, in this game, you get to a halfway point of this game, something happens, and when you finish the game, you restart it, and it takes you back to the halfway point, and you have to play through the same thing again, but there is more story stuff. There are different cutscenes. There are these things that you're fighting. You can actually understand what they're saying this time, so you can almost kind of like see the point of view from the things that you've been fighting the entire game, which brings like a lot to the story. So then that's what your second playthrough is. And then the third playthrough, it starts you back again at the halfway point, and it says, all right, now to get ending C, play through the exact same thing again, but get all the weapons this time. Which I had all the weapons but like one. So I've got to play through this again. And from what I've seen online is there's a choice that happens at the end this time, and depending on what it is, you get ending C or D. Then you have to play through it again to get the other one to unlock ending E. Then you have to play through it again to get ending E. And even people that have like, which I know you can save scum it, which is what I'm going to do, just like put it on a USB stick, my save, stick it back in, make one choice, load it, make the other choice, just so I can get C and D back to back. So I don't just have an unnecessary playthrough. But even the people that really love this game, and I do love this game, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Like I told you guys, like it is constantly on my mind. It is kind of a slog once you get through these third and fourth playthroughs, because you're just
sounds like it.
Yeah, you're just playing through stuff that you've already played before. Granted, you are super powerful. It's like New Game Plus. So you are absolutely manhandling these bosses. I'm talking like taking them out in like 15 seconds, just wrecking them. So it's not like, and it's not super long. Like you can get through it in like 2 hours. So it's not like the worst thing ever. But you've already seen everything, so you're just skipping through the cutscenes and stuff. So, and granted, this is an old game. This is like an Xbox 360 game, for the most part. Like the graphics are updated, the combat is better, but these aspects are the exact same, which is crazy because I've heard, like, really in the circles of things I listen to, nobody talks about this game, but this game is like awesome, dude. I don't know how maybe the combat was so bad in the original. I don't know. I'd be interested to kind of try and find somebody who is really like knowledgeable about the first iteration of this, and maybe explain why it wasn't as critically acclaimed or whatever as I think it should be. But yeah, if you like Automata, you owe it to yourself to definitely check this game out. It's fantastic. So I can't wait to
maybe one of these days.
Yeah, I cannot wait to actually see where the story goes and see this new ending. And there's only really a few things I found that actually connect to Automata, so I'm interested to see if this new ending that's added will connect them even more. So yeah, I love it.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't heard many people talking about it either. I know Skill Up on Twitter has mentioned it in passing a couple of times. I don't know. Has he put out his review yet?
He is not.
He's the only other person I've heard mention that game.
Yeah, he's. I think he said something about taking his time with it because he loves Automata. Like that's one of his favorite games. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what he thinks about the game. The only other review I've seen was from I don't know his name. Moist Critical, I believe is his name. Which I watch a handful of his reviews, and he was actually, I know I just said a second ago that I haven't heard anybody talk about the original, but the original game is one of his favorite games of all time. So it was he didn't really go like spoilery in his review, but he gave it like a 9 out of 10, saying how he absolutely loves this game. But he didn't talk too much about the original. But yeah, those are really the only. That's really the only review I've listened to about this game. So don't really know how too many people feel about it, because like I said, not really anybody's talking about it too much.
I didn't know you watched Moist Critical. I like him too.
Yeah, he's a good YouTuber. Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really heard anyone talk about the game either. Like literally 0 people. Yeah, I'm just not in the right circles.
I hope it sold well, because I have to have more of this. I have to. I would love to see where they go after Automata and how they can really like just refine the gameplay in that game, but where Yoko Taro can even go with his story. Or maybe like dive into the Drakengard series, which are like the prequels to even Nier. Because I am fascinated with his universe, dude. It is so interesting. So
amplified by those gorgeous tunes.
Oh man, it's I think that's half the reason that it's so like impactful to me, is like when all this stuff is happening on the screen, just the most beautiful music is accompanying it, that it just hits even harder. So yeah, really dig it.
Yeah, I have. I'm going to play Automata at some point. So I've heard just amazing things about it for so long. So it's near the top of my backlog. So there will come a day for sure.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what you think about it, Garrett, because I think it's a remarkable game. Don't get me wrong, but I think it has its like lull moments where it gets kind of monotonous. So especially if you're planning on playing it more than once. So
Yeah.
not that not each playthrough has like its own unique qualities, because I think they all do.
Mhm. I know the demo for it is nothing in comparison to the full game, but I remember liking the demo, just gameplay alone. I enjoyed the demo way back in the day. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a game to go in completely blind.
mhm.
'Cause there's a lot of really cool things that happen in the game. Like story-wise, gameplay-wise, that definitely I wouldn't want anybody to be spoiled by them. So
I look forward to it.
I will say the one thing, and I believe speaking of Moist Critical, he brings up in his review, and I listened to his review after I beat my second playthrough, just in case there were any slight spoilers. But he brought up one point in his review that I completely could not agree with more. But there are 2 points in the second playthrough where the game turns into like a straight up novel. Like there's a black screen with text on it, and it's like 30 minutes of reading. It's really interesting, like what's happening. It's pretty much backstories to 2 of your companions, Kaine and Emil, and of course, me being like invested in these characters, I was really into reading these things. But dude, they go on for so long. I swear I was reading for like 30, 40 minutes at a time. Just absolutely ridiculous. So it would have been cool if maybe in this version they could have animated these stories they were telling, like actually made them into cutscenes. So I'm just not like staring at a screen for, 40 minutes. But that's probably my one of my biggest complaints. But it's only one playthrough, and the next playthrough it gives you the option to just skip those parts. So not the biggest deal. But anyways, enough about Replicant.
Yeah. Speaking about books or novels, Resident Evil Village.
Yes,
How do you like that
totally.
transition?
that was great.
I low key, I like that book, like that little
Village of Shadows.
Yeah, not only because of just the story itself, that it's like sort of like foreshadowing and stuff, but the animation reminded me so much of
Deathly Hallows.
Yes, dude,
Yeah.
the same little stick figures.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
That was very much an inspiration.
Oh yeah, 100%. So Preston, have we all beat the game?
Yes.
Yes, I've beaten it 3 times.
Wow. Okay. I love Village. I love it so much. I think it's a really good game. I've only played it once because I wanted to play Mass Effect. I didn't want to like keep playing Village, but I do want to go back to it because I do want to play it on New Game Plus. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I thought some parts of the game were better than others. I don't necessarily want to like spoil like what happens in each area, but I think the game starts off stronger than I think. Like if you break it into 4 parts, like for each sort of boss you go through, I think I enjoyed the first 2 more than the second 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys agree with that, but especially like the third one, that sort of takes place in like I guess like a swampy area, you would say.
Mm-hmm.
I really found that one not very fun to deal with or progress through. But other than that, I really liked how each area sort of had a different theme or a different loop, I guess you could say. And I love the weapon arsenal too. I love that, like that revolver that you get towards like the latter half of the game is just so fun to use. And that along with the sniper. And playing on the PS5, the triggers, like when you aim down sight with the sniper and the shotguns, like it just feels so weighty. It's it's awesome. I love it so much. But on that same note, I wish that I would have played this on PC, because there have been so many times where I've been aiming on the controller and I can't hit my target because I'm trying to aim with the sticks, and it's just like
Well,
like
I will
it's
say,
tough.
I don't necessarily think it's the console entirely. I just think the way they've designed the controls in the game are not the best, because I thought the exact same thing. But dude, when I hopped into Mass Effect and like Returnal, I'm like headshotting everything like crazy.
Yeah.
So I think it's the game.
But I've also heard the game runs a little worse on PC for whatever reason. I didn't really look too much into it, but people were yapping about it. So I just took it for that.
Man, I played Resident Evil 2, not to go on a tangent, but RE2 Remake on PC, and it is just incredible.
Yes.
Mouse and keyboard, it is incredible.
I played 2 and 3 Remake on PC and was...
I think I did as well. Maybe I played 3 on console. I think I did it for COG or something.
No, you did. You played it on PC because I remember you played it on PC.
Yeah, it's funny. I have like zero. I mean, I remember the story from RE3 Remake, but I have like zero fond memories of it for some reason.
Yeah.
After 2.
I like the ending of Village. I think. I like how it sort of went like. Yeah, like. I mean, I do like it. It's a little like sad, without getting into specifics, but I'm really excited to see like where the series is going from this, because I mean, thinking of 7 going to 8, like I really didn't expect like this to happen, and I remember when I was fighting the first like real boss, I would say, in the game, I really didn't expect the transformation from what it originally was to what it became. But then like thinking back to how 7 was, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Oh,
like,
that's none of the transformations of this game came to a surprise to me at all. Like this is, it's just Resident. That's what I don't. A lot of people's complaints and like surprises with this game, I don't know if like 7 was their first Resident Evil, but I'm like, guys, where have you?
For me, it was.
Where have you been? Like, this is Resident Evil. What are you talking about? like, dude, Ethan Winters sucks and stuff. I'm like, dude, this is a Resident Evil character. Like,
I do think it's extremely comical that his hands get so beat up, and it's just like, oh,
it's just like his phrases, like when you beat the first boss, he's like, you're cursed. And like, I was cracking up at like everything he was saying. I loved it. I want it like the cheesier, the better, dude. And I actually think
sick of bugs.
Yeah, that was great.
I love the merchant so much. I thought
the Duke.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that this game. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy 7. But I like how much this game kind of brings back the wildness, the craziness of Resident Evil, and kind of blends it with 7. So
sure,
that's what I appreciated the most.
I think like the most monotonous part was like going through the warehouse. Like I didn't have a problem with like so you go up once, you fall down. I think you have to go back up again, then you fall down again. But I think the third time you get out quicker. But like it seemed like you spent a lot of time in there. I wish we would have spent a little less time. But honestly, I really didn't dislike any part of this game. It was refreshing to always get to a new area, and it was always refreshing to get back to the village itself, because you could always do something that you couldn't do prior. Like, the first time you can't really do anything besides explore a few houses. Eventually you find like a wheel to turn the wells, or a crank or something, and you can get all the loot from the wells, and then eventually you get keys that you can get into other buildings that you couldn't do prior. And I really enjoyed that sort of loop, and it sort of reminded me of like, I don't know, I guess 7, because that's the only really thing that I've played besides 2. Just being in the same space for the most part, like the same main hub, and then just being able to slowly progress the farther you get into the game is sort of like a nice little loop for me. So I really enjoyed it about that. I thought all the characters were pretty decent. Some better than others, obviously. And yeah, I don't really know what else I want to say.
Yeah, I also very much feel the same way. I thought the ending I would swear by it, dude. I swear that the Resident Evil developers, they just want to make Call of Duty, dude, and they're trying so hard not to. I feel like that with like most Resident Evil games I play, it's like toward the end, it's like, let's make this Call of Duty finally. And it's like just I honestly feel, I'm not going to spoil it, but like the ending leading up to the like I guess revelation of who one particular character is and all that. I'm like, this is, I mean, it works. It isn't badly developed. I'm like, I just feel like I don't even really want to play it for some reason. I just thought it was silly. I'm like, they just want to make Call of Duty so bad, and they're like, I feel like they're restraining themselves from just making Call of Duty like another. I agree with you. The name boss fight survival horror.
I don't know if I necessarily think that.
It's like, I mean, that's the thing is like the whole game is relatively restrained up until that point.
Yeah,
and it's like
I kind of like that part. It's like you spend. We can get a little spoiler. This game is just pretty short and it's been out for a while, so I think we can get spoilery about this part. I guess we won't say who it is, but they pretty much give you the ability to. Well, the entire game, you are, worried about your ammo. These lichens and enemies are taking several shots to kill, and then they put you in this opportunity where you can just lay waste to all of them. Mm-hmm. And I appreciated that from a gameplay perspective, where these things that I'm, trying to funnel down, tight corridors to pop off headshots or conserve as much ammo as possible. They're just like, all right, for this part of the game, just freaking take them out. Just like, don't worry about anything. Take these guys out with like unlimited ammo and just go crazy. Narratively. Yeah. Certainly. So I kind of liked it from that perspective, just kind of like these things that you were like scared of and, intimidated to take on, you could just, walk up and just, lay waste to them, which I like that because that's the fun part of one of my favorite parts about Resident Evil is doing these multiple playthroughs with like unlimited ammo weapons or like crazy strong weapons, like, playing through 4 with the, hand cannon or like the arm laser, the Chicago typewriter. I mean, those are my most fond memories of that game. So this definitely gave me like the feeling of doing that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably why I appreciated that part.
Yeah. I probably don't appreciate it as much just because the difficulty I was on, because I played on normal the first playthrough, and I never struggled with ammo or crafting or anything. Like I would just lay waste to stuff with ammo, not even thinking about it, because you would either find ammo immediately after a big encounter, or you'd find enough crafting materials to make more ammo. Mm-hmm. So I never felt threatened like the entire game. Yeah. And I think that's why some of the spookier parts didn't scare me, because I didn't feel like the stakes were high enough for me as a player. Like, for example, I think everyone at this point has at least seen a meme of like the second boss area where that creature chases you. I don't want to spoil it entirely, but this thing chases you. I don't think it scared me at all because I didn't feel threatened enough as a player. The things that truly scare me in games, it's one thing if something's horrific, but if the stakes aren't high for me as a player, for example, if it killed me and I just start way behind where I currently was, that's what truly terrifies me. Like the combination of gameplay implications and what it'll cost you to die by it. Like, for example, if something like that chased me in a game like Demon Souls or Sekiro, then I'd be crapping my pants. But in something like this, I'm like, well, if it eats me, like, I'm just going to go back 2 minutes ago and then just do it again.
Yeah, I thought that area was a lot more scary before that thing was revealed. Like, I had a really uneasy feeling going through that whole house.
Dude, so I guess it just depends on where your head's at and stuff, because it like scared the crap out of me. When I was playing it, I was just like running through the hallway, just trying to get out of there as fast as possible. And
I was going so slow.
Dude, I just ran up on that thing, and it is so un-Resident Evil looking, like that it just completely took me by surprise. Like I was not expecting to see that at all. And it just, It really more shocked me than like scared me, I guess. Yeah. But and I don't like things chasing me anyways. So that definitely didn't help. But I will say on the following playthroughs, that's my least favorite part, because obviously it's not scary at all the second time through,
and you can't use weapons.
Exactly. So it's just like, all right, let's get through this part. So that is the it's. I thought it was really cool the first time through. The puzzles, just that area was really cool. But yeah, on the following speed runs and stuff, it's little annoying.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
In regard to the action-packed stuff, I don't mind some of the crazier moments. I thought all the boss fights were fun in their own right. And I like how you feel like you're on a roller coaster with some of them, like the ending of the first boss fight, and then not the last boss fight, but the one right before that with like the Transformer. Basically, it's just you're like on a ride at Universal Studios or something. It's insane. So I thought it was a lot of fun, and yeah, characters are pretty cool across the board. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what they'll do next after 8. I don't know if they're going to continue down the path they've been on with 7 and 8. Character-wise, I mean, that's obviously kind of up in the air what they could possibly do, but gameplay, are they going to remain first person? Are they just going to keep third person to the remakes? I don't know. But I'm not I think either way, Resident Evil works for me, third or first person. So I think it works beautifully in 7 and 8. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but
it's beautiful.
Something about third person I've just always really loved about Resident Evil. I don't know why, but yeah, super solid entry into the series.
Cannot wait to see 4 in that engine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I've said it a million times, but this is going to be like the first big remake of a game that I know like inside and out. Like all these remakes that have come out, recently, like 2 or 3 or just other games and stuff. I don't really have a lot of experience with them when they first came out, but 4, like I said, I know literally everything about that game. I've played it a million times, so I'm so excited to see and hopefully appreciate what they do with it.
Mm-hmm. Jacob, you should go back and play 4. It's an amazing game.
I could just wait for the remake.
You could,
you know,
but it's still awesome in its current state.
It's the best one, Jacob.
It's on Steam, right?
Probably. I played it on PS4.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was like
PC
free or something 1 month.
Man, what are the PC controls even like for that game?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Keyboard and mouse on that game be
weird.
Be weird, yeah.
Like hold shift and that's when you stop to aim.
Yeah.
I imagine that's probably how it worked. That make most sense to me.
Just buy a GameCube and play it its original way, Jacob.
I've been wondering if Leon's design if they'll use his design from the RE2 remake.
I hope so.
I think it'd be interesting if they're like, for continuity's sake, they'd kind of take that. I mean, obviously you can make him look a little older.
Yeah.
But relatively have him look like that. It's just going to be funny because he's already like, in a good way, pretty goofy in 2, but he's just over the top action hero.
Yeah.
Summer blockbuster Leon in RE4. So it'll be kind of funny to see. I hope they retain all of that. Like, I don't think they should scrap it because that's a really big part of the game.
I want they need to retain everything. I want everything with Ashley. People complain about Ashley too much in terms of the gameplay sense. Like, Ashley's not that hard to take care of, guys. Like, what are you doing? Just take your time.
I still don't love it, but I mean, it doesn't ruin the game.
I mean, how many times do you have Ashley with you?
Like maybe 3?
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
Like it's people are overblow that part of the game so much.
Dude, honestly, I would be satisfied. Granted, I've only played through it once, but I loved the technical aspects of the 2 remakes so much that if they just had the exact same game with obviously modern controls, like more modern mechanics, but just visually was stunning and it had the gore and physics of the RE2 remake, I'd be in love with it. That's all I can ask for from my end. So
yeah,
we'll see. I was very specific in that what was that survey they put out for fans of the franchise? I went all in on those details in that survey, dude. So
the main thing I'm interested in is just seeing how I think they're obviously going to switch up the gameplay style, giving you the ability to move while you're aiming. I wonder how that is going to affect.
They probably remove a lot of the tension, honestly.
Maybe.
Because think about it, you get locked into a corner and you just have to like pop heads until you, like, especially those chainsaw guys coming after you.
Yeah.
Like that's like really stress and anxiety inducing in a good way.
They're probably going to have to obviously mess with the AI and stuff in that game, which I don't think that with this being like a complete remake, they're probably just going to build everything around it. I don't think they're just going to take Resident Evil 4 and just like, now we're going to give
reskin it.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're going to give you the ability to walk around, which would completely break the game.
Yeah.
But just interested to see how they're going to, tackle that. How they're going to tackle all the extra content. Like, I love the Ada Wong stuff that you unlock after beating the game. Hopefully that's still in it too.
I hope they use her design too from RE2.
Yeah.
The remake.
For sure. Hopefully they keep the mercenaries mode as well, which that is one thing about Resident Evil 8. I think they dropped the ball a little bit with the mercenaries mode, which I've been playing through it actually quite a bit because I want to platinum this game. But it's more like the raid mode and the Revelations games, which is fine, but the thing that was so cool about Resident Evil 4's mercenary mode was that you just could play as all these different characters that had, different weapon loadouts that they started out with. Whereas in this game, you start off with a set amount of money and you just buy the weapons that you want. And as you run through the level, you pick up weapon upgrades and stuff. So it's not, like the Zelda. Were you whining? It's not like the old school mercenaries like in 4, 5, and 6. So that was a little disappointing. So hopefully in 4 they'll bring back the old school mercenaries mode.
What do you have to do in that mode for the platinum?
You have to S rank every mission, which is
how many are there? There
are like 8 or 9, and the final versions are like absolutely ridiculous. Like I think the final level is like 6 stages, and the final stage is you actually have to fight the final boss with like all these other enemies in the game, and if you don't S rank it, you have to completely start over, do it again. So yeah, it's a little annoying. I'll say
sounds
that.
like a controller throwing moment.
Yes, from some of the guys I've read, people are not happy. But I've S ranked the first 4 levels, so I know I can do it. I just need to sit down and actually do it, which is really hard to do right now because I am just pretty obsessed with Nier Replicant and Mass Effect right now. So
yeah, you guys want to take this opportunity to jump into Mass Effect?
Yes, I'm dying to hear what you think, Jacob.
Yeah, same, dude. I've been waiting to hear from Jacob about Mass Effect for so long.
So I probably haven't played as much as you would think I have.
I'll say I have platinumed the first one.
Oh, wow. Is that hard
I beat
to do?
the first one last night and started 2.
Is it hard to platinum it?
No, that is what is so great about these games, is that all 3 of them you can platinum in your first go if you plan it out. So it's fantastic.
So I've been playing Mass Effect 1. I kind of just like chose the stock Shepard. I didn't really think too much about it. I just like selected him and then got right into it.
What class did you choose?
I don't know. I have no clue. I think like the one that specializes in guns, maybe.
Just soldier?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am liking the game a lot. I really enjoy like the dialogue and like forming your party, and like each party member has like different attributes that are good. And like since my guy is like basically just a red bar, I pick people that have like some purple bar, some blue bar, so it's kind of a well-rounded party. I like that little aspect of it. I like that you can like change the loadout of everybody, give them different armor, weapons, etc. I got kind of frustrated at one point because I went to the snow area very first. I think it's like called,
that's my least favorite sequence of the entire game.
Yeah, that's what I just finished. I think it's called Novalis or something.
Novaria.
Yeah, something like that. Something
where you go meet Benizia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
or I think that's her name.
The
matriarch.
Yeah. That fight was very underwhelming. I know it's an old game, but that fight sucked.
Yeah.
And the animations were terrible.
This is an old game.
I know.
You know, it blew my mind. It came out the same year as Halo 3 when I thought about it. I'm like, that's crazy.
Did it really? Wow.
Yeah, it was that. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 and Halo 3 all came out the same year.
Jeez, what a year.
I know, yeah.
But I got lost in that area. Like, let me tell you what the sequence that I went through. So
I know what you're gonna say, dude. I also got lost, and
I
hadn't played
everything.
it obviously since 2007, but I got confused for a while on that planet.
I did everything in this area. I backtrack. I search every single doorway. I think. It turns out I did miss one in the end, but I eventually go all the way back to the city. I drive the Mako all the way back because I thought I had completed everything.
What?
No.
And someone at work told me that's what I should do. Is to drive back.
Never listen to anyone at work.
But then I talked to everyone in the city. I couldn't do anything. So I'm like, okay, I must have missed something. So I drive all the way back again. I explore everything to my knowledge. I didn't find anything again. So I drive back again.
No.
Oh my god.
Because I think that I missed talking to someone. So I drive all the way back.
What have you
I go
done?
talk to this person. Nothing happens. So I'm like,
Is
this game.
is this after you fought the matriarch?
No.
You haven't even fought her yet?
Oh, I couldn't find her.
What?
Yeah, like the problem is like every doorway, everything looks the same in this facility. And it took me till then when I went back again the next time, I literally made sure I checked every single doorway and every single nook and cranny. I eventually found the doorway and I was like, oh my god, how did I miss this? Like there was like 2 doorways at the end.
I think the problem is that game is kind of claustrophobic. The first one especially, like the areas are a little tight sometimes. And then also the camera is also pretty. I still think the camera, even when you're not aiming down sights, is kind of tight.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan
It's
of,
easy
like,
to miss stuff.
It's like the whole like taking cover is a little annoying too because you have to like.
Dude, did you even take? I beat the game on insanity, and I think I took cover 1 time.
Yeah,
you don't even have
much
the
either.
game is ridiculously easy.
Everything's
Like
so easy.
hardest difficulty, it is so easy.
Dude, I couldn't believe how easy it was on normal.
Dude,
Holy
Mass
crap.
Effect 2 is kicking my ass on insanity. It is
two
so
in every
much
way
harder.
is such a. We'll get to 2 in a second, but it is such a leap from 1. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Jacob, continue.
But yeah, I did all of that and then defeated her, and I actually chose to release this bug creature. Some of my party members were not happy about
The
that.
Arachni.
Yes, I was thinking though this is the last being of this species.
I released her also.
I should give it a chance at a better life. It recognized the mistakes of its forefathers. You know, I thought it should have another chance, and you know maybe later on down the line they'll come back into relevance through my playthrough of one of the other games. Maybe then they'll be my ally. You know, and I can sort of like ride them into battle.
Hey, let me back up a little bit. I had to let my dog out.
Sure.
What party members were with you when you released the Arachni?
The chick's name that starts with a T, like the
Tally?
I don't know what. Yeah, Tally and
the Corian
and Ashley.
And Ashley?
Ashley at the time.
F. Ashley.
I was running with Rex.
But dude, I don't want to spoil it for Jacob, but I made a big decision with Ashley this game. with severe consequences.
Dude, I was telling Garrett, I was so stupid when I first played this game.
And we were 14 when the game first came out.
Yeah, and I clearly playing through this game again, dude, it showed how little I actually knew about Mass Effect lore and what was actually going on. Because playing through this, I'm like, holy crap, this world is amazing. The story is incredible. Like, everything that's going on, I'm like, this makes so much sense. Playing 2 and 3 and stuff, I was like, what was I doing when I played this game? I was clearly...
Like the seeds they plant in 1, they tie in all the way to 3 that I had missed as a child. I didn't even realize.
Yes. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, all these characters and stuff. And it revealed to me that me being a stupid kid, I was like, oh, Ashley's the hot human chick that I have to be with. And playing through it again, I'm like, dude, you suck. You're the worst character. I hate you.
She's a hothead.
I cannot stand her.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just I did not realize how much I just hate her. And the thing is like, she's really, from what I remember, she's really not in 2 and 3 that much either. So I just never really thought about it.
So I had that in my head when I made a decision with her later in the game where I was like, you know what? Not even going to deal with it. Not even going to deal with
You're not worth it.
Yeah. So that is funny. That's what's been fun about replaying Mass Effect, especially the first one, is like everything I had missed, like you said, when we were younger, is pretty drastic. And it's cool too, jumping into 2. They're like all the seeds that are planted in 1, not just the overall story, but decisions you make from big to small, tying into the next game.
I did this one side quest in 1. Like, I'm running around the Citadel, and this lady, I'm forgetting her name, it starts with an M. She calls me over and she's like, hey, I'm a part of like this criminal organization, and there are two dudes that are in this organization that I would love for you to take out so I can take over everything, but I'll make the gang better. And of course I play all Paragon, and the Paragon choice was just to be like, you know what, I should just turn you in myself. But I just decided for some reason, I was like, you know what, I'm going to help this lady out. So I went and killed these 2 crime lords, and I tracked her down and told her, like, you know what, I'm going to take you in. And she pleaded with me. She was like, please, like, I swear you will never see me again. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll let you go. That was just some side mission. Mass Effect 2, I'm running around and I see her in like a bar, and I run up to her and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And she's like, oh, thank you so much for letting me live. I'm a social worker here now. I'm helping out all these people. And I was like, dude, that is so sick. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just like, there are so many like little things you do in the first game that just transpire over in the second one that it's just been like blowing my mind, because I think every time I played the second or third one, I would just start from scratch. So and of course I'm playing these so close to each other that I actually remember things that I did in the first game.
In reality, like the second one came out 2 or 3 years after the first one.
Yeah.
So it was hard to remember little bits and pieces like that.
Yeah, so that's just been so cool. But anyways, back to the first game. Still want to hear more of what you have to say, Jacob.
Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot more to say.
Okay.
How far have you made it? Like, what's the last major story thing you've done?
That was the last major thing that I've done. Yeah.
Okay.
I just got to my first asteroid.
Okay. Yeah. Rest assured, the rest of the game is much stronger than I think that planet is.
Okay.
Story wise, even gameplay, it's a little better.
Man, you didn't even have like. I did that mission last, and I had a party member with me that made that fight,
that encounter, more interesting.
A little more interesting.
Yeah, I've noticed I am missing a party member still. So.
Yes, the best one. Yeah, I might say she's the best.
Which planet is she on?
She's
at the dig site planet.
Yeah.
Okay, I know exactly which one that is from the journal description.
Yeah. She is the Asari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite thing in terms of like the universe is I love how like going into it, like humans are like the underdog, like they're trying to prove their worth to the other like alien races that they belong, or like at least have a spot at the table of being are they specters? Is that what they're called?
But Shepard is the first Spectre, but no human has been like a council member before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I like the whole like, you know, the underdog story of like trying to prove to everyone that we're worthwhile. We're worth including into the conversation. I think that's kind of cool.
For sure.
And I like how like other races are like paranoid about humans, and they're like lust for what would it be, like
aliens?
Shepard's
lust for aliens.
I love one of the crew members that you find later. She's an Asari. She says something like, "My species is like concerned with young males, like infatuation with us." It's like BioWare knew like all these young kids were gonna be so horny for the Asaris.
Dude, quick side note. The thing about Shepard is, I think Shepard is, even as like the voice actor, improves with each game. But the first game, he's cool, but he's also just a total goofball sometimes. And
he's got those eyeballs, man.
So it's funny because I just don't have it in me to be Renegade in those games, because I just feel so bad. So I'm like always a nice guy, but some of the dialogue options are hilarious for Renegade, dude. Like I don't want to spoil it for Jacob, but there's this one opportunity where you can like choose like a romance sequence with a particular character, and she's talking to you like, she says like, oh, like I think I'm attracted to you. Are you drawn to me? And one of the renegade options is, you're an alien! Exclamation point. I can't imagine how funny it would be to hear me like, what are you talking about? You're an alien. So
just
funny.
to clarify, you can romance everybody, right? Like there's no downsides.
You cannot.
You cannot.
No. It's
I can or I can't.
You
I think
cannot.
it's a bit broader in the second and third game, but the first game's pretty limited.
I thought I could.
You can't. Not everybody. No.
Okay.
It depends. Like,
Man, I want to romance Rex.
Does it just depend like how much of a relationship you build with them?
you have to build a relationship with them, but it's like the characters have like sexual preferences and stuff. So it's not like if you're, I believe if you're like a female, you can't romance Ash, whereas if you're a male, you can. They get in depth of like you can romance the Asari, and they explain how alien relationships work, like in terms of breeding and stuff. Like you can find out how all that stuff works, which is pretty interesting.
I can have a kid.
You can have a kid. Well, no, you can't have a kid. In the lore, you can have a kid,
but not in the game.
Not in the game, no. You got bigger fish to fry than having a kid.
I want a kid. I want an alien kid.
Go play Fable.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh yeah, so you're not super far into it.
I'm gonna be devoting a lot of today once I get home to playing. So
Nice.
yeah, I really just got hung up in that area for like 2 hours, and I was just getting frustrated.
It's that area, especially like once you kind of get on the tram and get to the second half and finding out how to actually get into the restricted area and stuff. It's
a little tedious and least favorite part of the game.
I had a few cool things happen though. Like there was a scenario where I talked to the doctor, and there were some sick patients he had, and a cure was in a specific area.
Yeah, that's a good little side quest.
Yeah, and then like one of the other Saren had like a undercover agent there who confronted me that I had to take out. I don't know if y'all did that path, but it is cool to see how all these big missions have side quests within them that lead to different like choices that you make. That could lead to some side characters being alive or not. Yep. But yeah, man, just playing through this first game again, like I loved it. I had
me too. The ending is so epic. I was like blown away how epic it was, dude. Like I mean, I remembered like big set pieces from my first playthrough, but like the combination of the music and like the heroism and like the stakes is just so epic at the end. I was like, man, I love this.
Dude, and I texted you this. I was like, what happened to BioWare?
I know, dude. The whole time I'm playing it, I'm like, this is brilliant. I'm like, it's so good. And it's also, I think, you can tell, and I don't want to get political about it, you can tell it's two drastically different teams that develop these games, because especially Casey Hudson as a director, this is very like, I guess it depends on which gender you choose, but like, this is like a surprisingly... It feels very American. It feels very like American action hero in a lot of points. And I'm like, you would never see this today, like the way they portray Shepard. But I thought it was phenomenal, dude. Like the ending is just so epic.
I'm just thinking on like the whole, just the writing.
Yeah, the writing too.
It's just,
I mean, everything about it.
The first 2 hours of the game, I was like, This is like some of the best RPG writing I have seen like in years. Like nothing even touches this that comes out recently.
Yeah, I was like, when did this game come out? Like this is so much lore.
Yeah.
Like so much happening.
And it's just done so well. Just like I'm asking all the aliens, like, tell me your culture. Like the big elephant looking ones, how they like actually tell you their
Shepard.
they actually tell you, like, because they have no inflection on their voice, they have to tell you like if they're being sarcastic or their feelings or whatever. Like that is so cool and like creative. And especially just as they like keep introducing or just like how some races like like how the Turians literally created like a plague for the Krogans, and how there's just like so much animosity between them and stuff, and it's so good. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah. I love the stress and stakes of decisions you have to make in that game. It's so cool, especially knowing that there are 2 games that follow it, that those choices you make impact the following 2 games in drastic ways. Makes replaying the first one all the more exciting. Because when you play Mass Effect 1 originally, I mean, again, we were much younger. I didn't think as heavily about those decisions, but knowing you can import your character into the following games, is like I was like really stressing over some of these decisions, which is really cool.
And of course the effects of so having just like blazed through Mass Effect 1, like I told you, just loving like my time with it so much. Importing my character into Mass Effect 2, what happens at the beginning of that game, I was just
I know, dude.
No!
Shocking. Shocking, dude.
Was so... I've played Mass Effect 2 a million times, but just taking my character from 1 into 2...
And immediately jumping into it.
Yeah, I was like, everything that happens, and I know, Jacob, you haven't got there, but it's just everything that happens is so impactful, because it's like your dude that you took from the first into the second one, like your companions and stuff, like everything just matters so much more than if you just started 2 and not know anything. So I know we told you like before this came out, like if you're not feeling
if you get bored, jump to 2.
Don't. You have got to take your character from 1 to 2. You have to. So, and I think you'll want to, dude. Like once you start kind of getting in the groove and start, talking with your teammates, and like you said, you got the
now
worst.
That you told me that was the worst area.
Yes,
I'm more hopeful.
Yeah, it gets better, dude. Yeah. It gets better.
So
it's kind of unfortunate that I went there first.
I went there first too, and I was like, "Dang, this kind of sucks." And then the rest of the game was exhilarating.
I will warn you, like if you are going for the platinum, which I don't know if you are, probably the worst trophy in the game is completionist, which is pretty much completing. The description is complete a majority of the game, so it requires you to do a lot of side missions, and I will say the side missions they are written extremely well. The decisions you make can impact the following games. Like I told you, just that one random side mission affected my game. I like
doing the side missions.
Yeah, the thing about the side missions that might take its toll on you, especially towards the end, is they kind of follow the same formula. You're told like, hey, go save this person. Could you go take this person out? Could you go find this thing for me? And that requires you to go to a planet. You land on the planet with the Mako. You have to drive across like 50,000 hills of just your Mako.
Dude, the Mako is so much fun on some of those planets. You just go crazy with a boost and jump down mountains and stuff.
At first, when you've done it like a million times, and
you're talking about the completionist trophy.
Yes, and where you're trying to go is like at the top of this mountain, and you keep falling off towards the end, dude. I'm just like, holy crap. I just need to get to the top of this freaking hill. So, and of course, that's just like my problem, because I wanted to do everything, and I was playing it like within a week of doing everything. But I think if you're just casually playing through it, it shouldn't be an issue. But
is that really the only trophy that you have to like go out of your way to do?
There are a few trophies where you have to complete like 5 missions with each companion, which is if you're just once you get a trophy, just swap that companion out, get another trophy, swap that companion out. It's pretty easy. The other trophy,
what do you mean get a trophy? Like, is there a trophy for each character?
Yes, to just complete, but you have 2 at a time. So you're not that's easy if you just pay attention. There's over 80 side quests. There's over 80 quests period in the game. So 5 per companion is extremely reasonable.
And you're doing 2 at a time, so.
Exactly. So not a big deal. Then there's there's some trophies where you just have to use abilities. So like 20 times. So that's
what I'm bad with. I don't use the R1 abilities very much.
All right,
because I just don't need to.
Well, yes, in Mass Effect 2 and 3, you will need to a lot more. Like I said, this game is way easier using like overload to get shields down. When you're fighting AI abilities, using like AI hacking and stuff. On Insanity, like I said, like, you know, I've been saying it's pretty easy, but if you don't use your abilities on the harder difficulties, it's pretty impossible. You can't just shoot stuff. Like, you have to get their shields down. You have to use, like, I love the biotic powers so much, like throwing people into the air. I love to use lift and then have another person use throw. So
yeah, and just launch them
across.
Are you a Vanguard, Preston?
No, I am actually an infiltrator. So I am using a lot of tech abilities. Like in Mass Effect 1, I had I specialized in snipers and hand pistols, which dude, the sniper has an assassin ability that I upgraded all the way, which allowed me to pretty much take out everything with like one headshot, which was great. I think that's probably why it made it so easy, because I could kind of just hang in the back, use that ability, just kind of pick things off. But I'm mainly using like abilities to take down shields and stuff. Which I will say and Jacob, I think it'll be quite a shock to you going into 2 after this one. Mass Effect 1 has a lot more flexibility with how you build your character. The skill tree or the skill chart is triple the size of what it is in Mass Effect 2. Like in Mass Effect 2, you're not picking up armor, you're not picking up weapons, you're not like, it is so much more streamlined than this game is. Like this game is, you have your armor to worry about, you have your like Omni tool to worry about, you have mods to equip to all of those. That's not in the second game. It's way more streamlined, which at first, like playing through Mass Effect 1, I was like, holy crap, like they really like gutted the next 2 games. Like, but actually getting into 2 and seeing how a lot of those choices really didn't affect too much of 1. In fact, it kind of got annoying towards the end because I had so much stuff that I was just
it gets pretty tedious.
And you got to worry about every single party member.
Yes,
if you use them all. It's
yes.
Like, oh my gosh.
Which I appreciate it, but I can understand why they kind of got rid of that stuff. Like in the second game, you don't put armor on your companions. You can swap out their weapons. You still upgrade them and stuff. And if you actually form a companionship with your companions in the second game, you will unlock a separate ability, like another ability for them. So there's some sense of customization. But
there is really strong. I had forgotten about how strong the armor customization is in Mass Effect 2, though, because you have a whole terminal on your ship where you can like drastically customize your armor.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that you're picking up like different sets and like mixing and matching and stuff, but there's
you can buy different chess pieces and stuff.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah. There's like sliders, like depending on what you've collected, you can customize your whole set and the colors and patterns. It's like really in depth and make it really cool. So you can like really personalize your look. Yeah. Multiple like casual outfits too. I forgot that you can wear.
And there's a lot of like DLC that was added in the second game of like, there's like the Dragon Age armor that you can buy in Omega, cool stuff like that. But this 2 is I forgot how different it is than 1.
I think that'll be nice though, not having to.
It was a nice change of pace. If 2 played exactly like 1, I might have started getting burnt out a little bit.
Dude, gunplay in 2 immediately felt night and day. That's the thing. Like replaying, awesome. I hadn't played either in a long time. That playing 1, I'm like, oh yeah, this works. Because I have no memory of what it originally felt like, because it was so long ago. I just remember them saying in all these gameplay reveals, saying, oh no, we've improved like the combat in 1. It totally works. I have no complaints about 1, but 2 is like phenomenal. Not just in terms of the way it feels, but like the feedback of shooting your guns and killing things is way more satisfying.
An actual cover system that you push
it feels more like Gears of War.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can like vault over stuff and everything.
You actually have ammo in the second one. You have thermal clips that you have to collect. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Which makes things like 2 is significantly harder. Like on Insanity mode, like the first one, I think I died, no joke, 2 times the entire game on the hardest difficulty. Mass Effect 2, I've died like 30 times already. It is it is way harder. So, but it's funner.
Jacob,
It's funner gameplay wise for sure.
Definitely, very very good.
And dude, there's stuff in 2 that they added in DLC I never played before. I just did a mission for a brand new companion named Kasumi, where she's like a thief, and I had to go into like a dinner party and like help her steal all this stuff like that. And there's another companion mission with this dude I met on Omega. Never heard of, like I have no clue what his mission is. So that's exciting to know that there are oh yeah, then there's this DLC called Layer of the Shadow Broker, which Jake, you've probably heard of the Shadow Broker from this talking to people in the Citadel. Yeah, he's just this
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so apparently there's a DLC in Mass Effect 2 that really goes in depth of who the Shadow Broker is, and I've never played that, so I am super pumped to like find out more about him. So
sure.
Yeah.
Garrett, we have a few questions here if you want to put them in here at the end.
Yeah, we can jump to them real quick. One thing I was going to say about, I won't spoil it for you, Jacob, the opening of Mass Effect 2 reminded me immediately why it's so good. It blew my mind playing through it again, especially immediately after one. I mean, credits rolled on 1. I imported my character into 2 and started it. It just blew my mind how awesome it was. So very excited for you to get there too. But you still have plenty left to enjoy.
Oh yeah,
Mass Effect 1.
Mass Effect 1 isn't that long either, which kind of surprised me. Like there's only
I was surprised how short it was too.
5 main missions, really? 4 or 5? It's not that bad. So you could, if you just mainlined it, which I don't recommend you do, like take your time, like talk to your like some of like Rex in particular, Garrus, like if you talk to them, they'll give you missions. Specifically Rex will give you a mission to like he'll kind of go into his backstory of his family and stuff. He'll give you a mission, and doing these missions, becoming close to these companions, it matters.
Should you talk to your companions every time you go back to the ship?
After like a main mission, I'll talk to them. It unlocks more stuff. I mean, and I think they got a lot of feedback from the first game that people liked, learning about their companions and becoming.
Yeah, that's what I did in Inquisition when I was playing through it, Dragon Age.
Yeah, and I think that came from this game, especially 2. The entire point of 2 is just like getting to know your companions. That's essentially the point of it.
Yeah.
So
see, I've always liked that in games like this. Like I think of Fire Emblem, for example, when I played that on the Switch. Like it was very much just about getting to know all of the students at the school. So
yeah. So do that in this game. There was like I told Garrett, and I don't want to spoil something. I did like a little side quest, and like I'm sure you already know, but the Quarians have a relationship with the Geth. They're kind of just like they've always been like at war with each other. And Tally, the reason Tally's even with you is that she's off on her pilgrimage. And I did one side quest where I got like this extra Geth data pad, and I gave it to Tally, and she was like so appreciative of how it would help with her pilgrimage. And things happen in 2, and she just that is one of my dialogue options, is to be like, hey, like remember I gave you this data pad back then, and it affected like kind of what happened in that dialogue. And it's just doing things with these pretty much what I'm saying is doing things with these companions really affects things. Even in this game, it affects it a lot. So yeah, I would talk to them for sure.
I loved how like much she loved the ship when she first got on it before the first mission. Like when you first get her in your party.
Tally is really cool. Doing a Renegade playthrough would be the hardest thing ever for me. I think mainly because of Tally, because she is like the nicest person ever. I don't see how you could ever say anything mean to her. So she's just like so appreciative and sweet. But
yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. I'm excited to play.
It sounds like we've all caught the Mass Effect bug again for Preston and I, and I'm hoping, Jacob, that you continue to like 1, and I can't wait for you to play 2. Because
I don't know if I necessarily have the bug, but I am I'm looking forward to catching it.
I got it, dude. I cannot wait to start playing more of 2. I don't know if I'll get to play today, but hopefully soon, man.
I think I would be absolutely shocked if towards the end of this game or at the end of this game if you don't have the bug.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with how much you like sci-fi and stuff. Like I'd be really shocked.
Yeah. We'll see.
So cool.
Well, Comatose wrote in regarding remakes. He says, this is multiple questions in one, but I'm curious about your guys' thoughts on the matter, as it's been on my mind a lot lately. With the success of games and projects like WoW Classic and Mass Effect Legendary Edition, etc., do you think nostalgia is one of the most powerful tools and publishers and developers have now?
Yes.
Do you think the practice of remastering or re-releasing older games should be continued? Do you think they are monetized fairly? Finally, should some companies just not spend time in this kind of thing and focus on moving on instead? Many critics say that companies like Blizzard and Nintendo focus too much on nostalgia instead of trying new things. Do you agree?
I agree with that statement. I think, unfortunately, Hollywood and a lot of video game makers, a lot of AAA video game makers, focus a lot on nostalgia because they know it's going to make a lot of money.
I agree with that, but I don't think it's I don't think it's keeping them from trying new things, especially Nintendo.
Sure,
like Nintendo is always just doing some crazy crap.
But they always do like continue their mainline franchises too.
Yeah, but they're always innovating with them.
Sure.
Like, I mean, it's what mainline Mario games have ever like. I'm gonna discount the side scroller ones because that's kind of like its own thing. But like, look at how Super Mario Galaxy jumped from Sunshine, and then how Galaxy jumped to Odyssey. Like, those are very drastically different. I mean, look at Twilight Princess to Skyward Sword and Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild. It's like I mean,
that's a good point. Like, they're not like they do re-release like Zelda, for example. They've released that game on multiple platforms, like different versions of Zelda. But there's always like new Zeldas, and they're completely different from their the formats.
I think what their main like their main like big guns. I think they're constantly like being like pushing the ball forward or trying new things with them.
Sure.
So
it almost feels like something brand new. Like, so the same year Zelda and Horizon came out, and like I loved Horizon because it was just brand new. It was something completely different from Sony and from that studio even. And it kind of played a little bit like Zelda, but they were both just so completely different. And I loved them both a lot that year when that came out.
Yeah, I mean, specifically with Nintendo, it's like it's kind of shocking when they do like a sequel. Like, it's not the norm for them to do like a Galaxy 2. It's this Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever it is not normal for them, especially with Zelda. I mean, the last time they did a direct sequel to like a mainline Zelda title was Majora's Mask back in like 2000. So it's just it's not normal for them to just pump out a sequel that's kind of the same-ish. Which, who knows, Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever it's called could be something like crazy. No clue.
And to play devil's advocate for a little bit for like WoW Classic and Mass Effect, for example, like both of those games, like the fans were begging for like the re-release of WoW Classic, and then for Mass Effect especially. I know.
Mass Effect took too long. Like, it's crazy it took this long for this.
I'm glad we finally got it though.
Yeah.
Because I would have never played it, to be completely honest. But yeah, like a part of me like really wishes like we didn't get so many remakes. I think we're getting to the point where we're running out of things to remake, thankfully. So I think we've gotten so many that we've really asked for.
Remaking The Last of Us. So I think it's which
which is about, dude, we're 2 years away from that being a 10-year-old game.
Yeah, I mean, it's older than we think, but it's also to that point like I'm buying it. So
oh, for sure.
I
will.
They got me.
I haven't tried Last of Us 2 with 60 FPS yet. I'm sure it's wonderful. I was actually expecting a little more out of the PS5 version.
I think they're doing more. They said in that statement that they're still doing stuff. I think once they have like their factions multiplayer and the remake of 1, I would not be surprised at all if they had like a Last of Us pack where they have the remake of 1, some souped up PS5 version of 2 with the multiplayer. I think
whatever this
something like
multiplayer is, it's got to be pretty wild because they have taken a long time to even reveal it.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about just think back on the scope of part 2, how just massive it is. Like, completely makes sense that they would have dropped the multiplayer and just went all hands on deck with that.
I'm wondering if this multiplayer is going to be separate from 2 and be like in the Last of Us world, like it is Last of Us, but it's like its own game at this point.
I think you'll be able to buy it.
What's
separately.
that?
I said I think you'll be able to buy it separately.
Yes, I agree with that.
I think it'll be its own like engine. I think it'll be like sort of a thing where so are they like selling this as a bundle, you said?
That's my
assumption.
Guess. That's my guess.
Yeah. Like you could access Last of Us 1, 2, or the multiplayer, for example.
Yeah.
What do you think about Last of Us Battle Royale? Huh?
God, I hope so.
I've always thought an aspect of that makes sense in that world.
Yeah,
it would have to be more than just
dude. There
drop
were some
in and fight some stuff. I think there would need to be NPCs too, and like PvE elements to make it interesting, like clickers
that would be
and
very cool.
runners and stuff.
That was the rumor with the original Last of Us. Is that I was like some fake leakers were saying that the multiplayer for it was going to be like DayZ on like a massive open environment with clickers.
It would work out so well
and stuff running
I feel
around.
like.
So.
And like putting all of like the hot spots for all like the supplies that you need were at the same location that a lot of like clickers would be in, for example, to make it dangerous.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if they did add some enemies like that into the game, but I think it's probably just going to be a souped up, in-depth version of factions, which is I think what a
which is still exciting.
Yeah, I think it's what a majority of people.
I remember us having a good time playing the multiplayer in 1.
Yeah,
some good times.
It was fun.
It's very fun.
Yeah, I don't really have too many thoughts to add to that. Every remake that I've chosen to play, even if remasters is a totally different thing, but if we're talking about remakes in particular, I've enjoyed all the ones I've chosen to play. I know there have been some duds along the way, but for the most part, a lot of these remakes have been really well done. A lot of heart's been put into them, so keep them coming, man. I can't really think of any other remakes I can imagine wanting to replay at this point. I would absolutely replay Sly Cooper. I'd play the whole trilogy. I don't really consider the 4th one as part of like the main trilogy, but 1 through 3, if they just remastered them, I would love that. It'd be killer to play remastered Sly Cooper on PS5, like leaping an entire generation and then bringing it back to PS5. Because look at the nostalgia that Insomniac's benefited from. I'm trying to think of just PlayStation Studios. Not too many others have done remakes aside, as far as we know, at least from Naughty Dog at this point, but just studios in general remaking some of their old games. I think it'd be just so awesome if what are they called? Tsushima devs. Why can't I remember all of a sudden?
Oh, Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. If they remade Sly Cooper alongside their sequel
I think
to
they're
Ghost.
they're too big for Sly Cooper now. They've stepped in it with.
But yeah, I would say Insomniac was too big for. Well, maybe not too big for Ratchet, considering this huge sequels coming out. But
yeah,
Insomniac is leaps and bounds more relevant and successful and gigantic compared to when they first released Ratchet and Clank back in the day.
You mean like the very first one?
I mean, if not Sucker Punch dealing with Sly Cooper, some other third-party studio.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Sanjaru Games who remastered the first. What the heck was that?
What's that?
It was just loud cars in Atlanta.
It sounded like somebody barfing. Yeah, Sanzaru Games, I believe that's what they are. They originally they did the Sly collection and they made Sly 4, which never played Sly 4, so I don't think it was the worst thing ever. I don't think it was the best thing ever either. But they showed they were pretty competent. But they're out of the picture now. I believe they were bought by like somebody or dissolved, or I think Facebook bought them for like Oculus stuff. But well, let's just throw Blue Point on it. Let's get them off their Metal Gear Solid remake or whatever they're doing now and get them on Sly Cooper. But
I heard I saw an article that Konami was sort of getting back into games.
Yeah,
I didn't really read it.
I've been hearing that I think it's obviously happening, but I've been hearing that for forever. But would love to see
Yeah, who's Konami without Kojima?
True.
I mean, Silent Hill, Castlevania, Metal Gear. I mean, they have those two IPs, outside of Metal Gear could be awesome.
Yeah.
Especially Silent Hill. We need a modern Silent Hill that's actually good.
See if they can do something that hasn't already been done by many horror games that have come out since that were probably to an extent inspired by Silent Hill.
Yeah, just everything about Silent Hill, and it's probably just due to it traumatizing me as a kid. It's just the scariest thing ever to me. Just the way the siren goes off, the design of the creatures and stuff, just absolutely horrifies me. So if they were to nail that, I don't think I could play the game. I think it would just be too much for me.
Going back to Village, do you guys think it was scary?
Village?
No.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I mean, there were some eerie moments, sure, but there was nothing scary.
Resident Evil it's never
The longer
really
I played it, the
scary,
less
though.
I was scared, I think. Like, it got progressively, less scary.
I wouldn't even call it like survival. I mean, there are horror elements, sure. I mean, on paper and like visually, there are things you could consider horrific in the game, but I almost call it like a survival action game versus
like a
survival
thriller.
horror. Yeah, like survival thriller, survival action.
Mm-hmm. It does have creepy moments, though.
I wonder if Sony has to have done some sort of research about Sly Cooper for it to just be dormant for so long.
I don't hear anyone else talking about it besides us.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless I'm just not following. people that are
remember
really
they
into
were
Sly
making
Cooper.
an animated movie for
Yeah.
it. They released a trailer
Mhm.
and everything, and then just gone.
Yeah.
Just gone. So I don't know. Maybe they know something we don't know, and just
Maybe it's up to us to start the hashtag on Twitter and get the ball rolling.
maybe. But yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, Dexter Clark wrote in. We've already kind of answered this, but I don't want to exclude him. He says, which game in the Mass Effect Legendary Edition did you play first? I started with 2 and then kicked up to 3. For some reason, I remember more of 2 than 3. We've all started with 1, as we've said.
How dare you skip 1?
That's how he rolls. But I am very glad I replayed 1 because I really enjoyed it and the implications and impact into 2, and I'm certain that will tie into 3 as well, have been well worth the investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, yeah. Let's talk about Horizon, man.
Yes, let's do that.
That demo was something else.
It was. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Obviously, there's a lot to dissect. We don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but melee combat looks pretty sick compared to the first game. Apparently, there are multiple melee weapons, I've heard, different combinations. You can upgrade those melee weapons. So, heavier focus on melee. Of course, I'm sure ranged will be the primary means of combat, which was excellent in the first game. And I cannot wait to feel the DualSense features of all these weapons in the world and stuff. It's going to be sick. But before we obviously can talk about just how gorgeous the game looks, even compressed in 4K on YouTube, it is stunning. So I can only imagine how gorgeous it's going to look on an actual TV when it's running on the PS5. But yeah, gameplay looks like more of Horizon, but like many improvements in terms of traversal is cool. I was hoping for more of like a Breath of the Wild style traversal where you just are unhindered by everything. That would have been more satisfying.
The second she did the pulse and I saw the yellow lines, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, same. Like, it'll still be cool. I'm certain it'll be cool. But after Breath of the Wild, that's freedom to the point that has been unparalleled since. A couple of games have tried to rip it off, but no one's done it effectively yet. That would have been more exciting for me as a player, but everything else looks great. Combat looks really strong. I think the underwater stuff looks gorgeous. That's going to be cool. I love that they don't lock you down with having to like hold your breath and stuff. That's what ruins a lot of swimming sequences in games for me. I'm like, it's one thing to go underwater that already can be tedious and kind of frustrating. Yeah. But if the swimming is strongly developed, mechanically works well, and you don't have to hold your breath, then I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, we got the glider. Glider's cool.
Yeah, another Breath of the Wild inspiration. One that is cool, but like if you're going to take a real inspiration from Breath of the Wild, let us climb anything, anytime with like a stamina bar.
Maybe the next one.
I always appreciate the glider. That was pretty much a majority of open world games I've played that don't have it. It really annoys me. Like Valhalla is probably the last one I played, and
you have to like either find something to jump into or climb down.
Yeah, It's just like I just want to jump off this and just keep going. So
Yeah.
I'm the more games you can shove that into, the better.
Some interesting looking. They didn't explore too many of the new weapons, but that one arrow or device that like glues the mammoth.
Yeah, like with the muck.
The trimmer tusk, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Kind of glues them down. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what other arrow types and weapons you can collect throughout the new game. Is always exciting, and new creatures they haven't revealed yet, like the Velociraptor looking creatures are cool. I like that you can mount them as well. That's awesome. Trimmer tusk looks awesome.
Yeah.
There's going to be a like set point or a big like cinematic moment where you're like riding one of those things for sure.
Yeah.
Like just shooting cannons and like destroying everything. It's got to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like there's a level of destruction too. They've included how the mammoth breaks through that. She's like on the beach and he breaks through that broken wall. That's pretty cool. What else is in there that really stood out to me? Obviously, animations are drastically improved. I mean, the faces look incredible.
I kind of like her face in the first one. I'm going to be honest, a little more.
I've seen that take a lot, but it's like I haven't
heard anyone say that.
I've actually seen that a lot. She just the comparison. She just looks like more like a real person in this one. Like
maybe.
I mean, she does. People have zoomed in on her face, and she actually has like peach fuzz on her like
wow,
cheeks.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Like ridiculous how detailed she is. I know her face is like a little fuller in this one as well. But I mean,
she looks a little older, I think.
Well,
which I think is intended.
That would make sense.
I'm just wondering how much time has passed, I guess, since the first one.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find that out.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be like people just appreciate or just like kind of like the style of the first one or whatever. But I definitely think
with the PS5 they have an opportunity to maybe just make it more realistic.
I mean,
perhaps.
Definitely achieve that. She definitely looks more like an actual person in this one than in Zero Dawn for sure. The thing that I am most excited about is the combat with people, because that, quite frankly, just was not good at all in the first game.
In the first one,
it wasn't. It was so boring. So it's cool to see that these. That one heavy enemy we saw her fight actually had pieces of armor that she could break off, and she used that like anime like ultimate attack where she charged her staff and smashed the ground, which looks
about that.
So freaking cool. She was able to jump off him, hit him in a weak spot, so it's cool to see that hopefully there are different types of human enemies that you fight that will require different tactics than just shooting them with like a million arrows. So
true.
That's kind of what stood out.
I like the whole idea of like the whatever it is, like the sort of like plague or virus that's sort of sweeping over the land that she's in. I think that'll be sort of
from the storm.
Interesting.
I'm interested to see what that actually is. I need to
like surely it's from one of those like recreation like machines that they like they're like spread across the I guess California they're in. I wonder what's causing the storm and what's malfunctioning.
I need to play through the first one again before this comes out, because I don't remember a lot of the story.
I remember really, like the main points. I remember the main points.
Even that, like I know what Zero Dawn was and stuff, but it's like I don't fully remember like why.
There were a lot of aspects to it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll play through it again. Hopefully that we can get some like PS5 update or something, or I guess I could just play it on PC as well.
Yeah, that's what you should do.
But
yeah,
I do have a trophy I could get for beating it on New Game Plus on PlayStation, though. So I don't know. We'll see.
Stop it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Was something about this? I can't remember. I think the tropical. I think the first game had multiple biomes as well that were different. There's like the desert and it's snowy in another place. There's but this is very tropical in this demo. I'm wondering if the majority of San Francisco in this game is going to be tropical, if there will be multiple biomes like the first one. But really love what we've seen so far. So excited to play it. I'm still not like head over heels losing my mind for it, but it definitely looks really impressive. So did they give a release date or release window? Or they just say whenever?
They said something along the lines of that they will have more information soon, and that apparently everything is on track.
The sooner the games industry could be 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't mean release. I mean like getting that news.
yeah, Sony. I don't know. Who knows what Sony's doing for E3, which is.
Are they gonna be present at all?
No, they're not going to be present at E3.
But how they'll like contribute to those conversations in their own way.
Like they haven't said anything about putting out a state of play or anything like that. But I mean, that's not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. Yeah. So
really,
Bethesda and Xbox have already announced their shared conference on the 13th. So just kind of waiting on
probably a lot of cool stuff to see from that.
Yeah, I know we're seeing Starfield.
I really want to see Halo Infinite. I think they have to show something.
Oh, for sure.
Fable. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I still doubt we'll see anything from that. I'd love to see something. If anything, a little more context as to what will make this new Fable different.
Yeah. I don't know.
Fable 3 was a huge, or was it 4? Was there a 4? We're working on Fable 4 right now. Fable 3 was such a letdown for me after 2 that, and so many open world RPGs have come out since Fable that have done things better. I mean, Fable still has some features that are wholly unique to Fable that are unlike anything else in any other game. But there are games that have done what Fable has done well and like drastically improved on it. So it's going to be interesting to see what Fable 4 is all about.
For sure.
So yeah, we could speculate on E3 all day. We'll probably tackle that next week. Hopefully we'll have an episode next week. I'd love to, leading up to E3. But Far Cry 6, I actually, you know what's funny? Because Preston sent me a leaked gameplay video that was far more substantial than what they actually released to the public. So like I haven't even watched what they released to the public because I watched like 6.5 minutes of gameplay that was edited, but there wasn't music over it. It wasn't overly cinematic. It was just pure gameplay for the most part. So that gave me a far stronger impression than whatever this public thing that released is probably.
Yeah. I thought
general thoughts.
I thought that was actually better than what they kind of showcased, just to kind of just to kind of see just straight up gameplay. I mean, the stuff they showed was kind of more like cinematic based. I mean, they definitely showed gameplay, but kind of showed the character that you're playing as. Danny Rojas, I believe, is her name. I thought I read somewhere that you could pick between a male and female, but they pretty much showed off all playing as a female. That name definitely sounds like one that could go both ways. But I'm not 100% sure about that yet. But nonetheless, kind of went into that character, gave a little backstory. I'll be shocked, like absolutely shocked out of my mind if I actually care about this character whatsoever. For a Far Cry game to actually make me care about who I'm playing as would be incredible.
Yeah.
But
there appears to be a heavy, I haven't read anything about this, but there appears to be like a pretty heavy emphasis on customization. And I think that's ultimately what will make this interesting for me, because I love Far Cry 3, 4, and 5 in different ways. But they're all in a lot of ways very similar. So I'm wondering,
customization to what extent? Like, what are you talking about?
Like, you know, like almost like a what's that feature in Modern Warfare called, where you completely customize your guns, like every aspect of them, gunsmith, like something like that in the game, but like what even crazier than just like, oh, here's a rifle, like customize your rifle, like just make something insane. Yeah. So there seems to be some pretty crazy weapons in the game, like a wackier gunsmith could be cool.
Like
same thing with vehicles.
CD launcher that plays Macarena.
Yeah, stuff like that, and just go bananas with it, dude. Like even the vehicles look like it'd be cool to have like a GTA level garage where you customize vehicles but make them just death machines in like whatever way you choose. Like maybe put like the front of a bulldozer on your car to like bulldoze through things, or like put like it looks like you can put guns on a car. Just make it completely crazy.
Yeah,
would make it more interesting. Like imagine customizing like really wacky stealth weapons. Like that's what I can't wait to see, is how people could potentially make the formula of Far Cry that I think is very fun, but make it so customizable that like everyone's experience can be different.
Yeah, that would be cool. I hope they do something different. I actually appreciated some of the gameplay changes they made with Far Cry 5, specifically like the bunkers that were almost like mini puzzles that you had to get into. I thought that definitely made exploring a little more like refreshing than just running up to just spots on a map that you would just interact with and get the loot. So I hope that they bring those back, or maybe like expand upon those. But the main thing that I think is always hyped with these Far Cry games is the villain, and there's always promise to these villains. Like Voss in Far Cry 3 was completely underutilized, but he was a really cool character. The Megan Pin, or I think that was his name, Pagan Min or whatever it was, in Far Cry 4 by Troy Baker. He was really interesting for all like 10 minutes he was on the screen. And then the cult in Far Cry 5 I thought was pretty interesting. I think that was definitely a step in the right direction. But with them having the star power, and I'm completely blanking on his name right now, but Gus Fring from Breaking Bad with
I think is it Juan or Giancarlo Esposito?
It's Esposito is his last name.
Is his last name, yeah.
But
he's really good in The Boys too. He's pretty much his character from Breaking Bad in The Boys, but he's in that show.
But I think that just playing Gus is just, he's a great villain. I think he just acts extremely well in that role. So I really hope he can play somebody that you can really hate in this game and just have the drive to want to take this country back for him and track him down. So
definitely. One thing that is, again, it's unnecessary, but one thing I still love from 2 was your hideout would have all your collected weapons on the wall, and you could walk up to them and like take them off the wall and put them in your inventory. It's such a simple thing, but I love like immersive features in games like that. I would love if like all your created wacky weapons you've customized. I mean, I'm just like fantasizing at this point, but let's say you've crafted all these crazy weapons and they like can physically go on the wall of wherever your hideout is. Like going to and from your hideout, if the game loads quick, is not a big deal. But back in the day, it was kind of annoying. Like, I need like a assault rifle of some sort. You have to like go all the way back to your hideout and get it off the wall. That can be tedious, but as a player, I thought that was very immersive and cool. I love stuff like that. I think it'd be cool if that was a feature. But companions look cool, like the little dog with the the wheelchair wheels. It's cool. The little puppy, and like it looks like you have a pet gator, which is just insane.
Yeah, it's like everything looked so grounded.
Or crocodile.
Until they showed the crocodile wearing a vest that you went up and patted his head. I was like, oh yeah, this is Far Cry.
So I love stuff like that. I just really hope there are like a heavy emphasis on customization, some cool secrets to unveil if you go off the beaten path and explore. I love finding like a rare weapon is always cool in Far Cry. So that's the thing. The formula works so well in terms of just the gameplay loop. I think is always really fun. They just gotta really make it customizable, I think, to really make it unique for each player. So yeah, I look forward to it. Is there a release date for that?
October 7th.
Cool. Yeah, so that's close. It's cool.
Yes.
It'd be strange to have a Far Cry in the fall. We usually get them in the spring.
Do we?
Yeah.
I don't remember when they release.
I think 4, then what was the prehistoric one? I forget.
Primal.
Yeah, Primal, and then also I think the one before that were all in the spring. So
yeah, I don't remember.
I think this one was originally supposed to be this spring, but I think they delayed it. If I'm remembering correctly.
So many games that get delayed now, I can't keep up with them.
Speaking of games that get delayed, I don't know if this is on our list, but I did want to give a quick shout out to how incredibly awesome Deathloop is looking.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm very excited for that.
I am
very
just
excited.
Listening,
that's August, right?
September, I think.
Okay.
I think it's September, around there, August or September. But always hyped for an Arcane game. But hearing a bunch of previews and just actually understanding what this game is making me just incredibly excited for it.
Absolutely. And that is a PC game through and through, man. 100% playing that on PC.
For sure.
I'm sure it'll be sick on PS5 with DualSense features, but that game, I think every arcane game that's first person especially is made for PC primarily.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you.
I'm excited.
For sure. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to
the boys.
To the boys
and the gals.
Over at Arcane.
Arcane, yeah. Jacob, do you want to go in depth on Overwatch 2?
We can touch on it in just a second. About a week and a half ago, I would say, there was an Overwatch 2 PvP live stream, which is really the first time that we've really heard any really new details about just the PvP mode in general, because I think they've only really been talking about like the new PvE co-op mode story that's sort of been coming. So what we learned basically was the game is going to be 5v5 now instead of 6v6, which is actually a pretty big change. And the person that is losing a spot in terms of the role queue is a tank. So there's only going to be one tank now, 2 supports, and 2 DPS. From what I've seen, a lot of people have been either really for it or really against it. So it's going to be sort of interesting to see how that sort of develops and what everyone's outlook is on if it's a good change or a bad change. And we really won't know until we actually get our hands on it through the beta that is expected to be released at some point this year. So we have that to look forward to, I guess. They revealed 3 new maps. One is Monte Carlo, one is New York, and I think the other is Paris. No, not Paris. What is it? I can't quite remember. But they showed off 3 new maps. There's a new game mode called Push, and basically it is a tug of war match. And there's a robot that is like there's 2 barriers basically, and depending which team is closer to him, he will walk towards the opposing team's into the play area, and he will push a barrier. And basically, whichever barrier that he pushes to the other team's, I guess, spawn point or whatever, will win. So whoever's barrier is closest to their spawn point is going to lose the game. It seems like a pretty interesting game mode, and it's going to be replacing Assault, which is the 2CP mode. I don't know if you guys remember 2CP, but it's basically where you go onto a point, you capture, then you go straight to the next point. And they're removing this mode because they've had a very difficult time balancing it, and oftentimes when you capture one, it can very easily lead to just steamrolling the team again and capturing the next point and just ending the game instantly, which they want to sort of do away with, because it's not only frustrating for the players, but I'm sure it's frustrating for them spending all this time trying to balance it and whatnot, and just being unsuccessful in doing so. So I feel for them for that. They teased another new game mode coming soon, which has not been revealed. There's going to be some new UI changes in the new game. There's going to be a new healer UI. Like, for example, you'll be able to see, like, on your UI who you're healing. It'll display a portrait of their character, which is cool. They mentioned that the weapons are going to feel more visceral with better sounds, animation, and feedback, which is nice.
I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. All the heroes will be getting a 2.0 updated look. Like, for example, Reaper's going to have more like body armor on his self. He's still going to be wearing his cloak, but he's just going to have a few more like shoulder pads, just being a little more.
That's how you always upgrade a character in a sequel, more shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Better shoulder pads.
I guess sort of like
even
more
Mega Man
futuristic
got that
looking,
back in the day.
if anything. All the characters are going to be slightly a little older. Like, for example, Reinhardt's going to be a little older.
Tracer's going to be an old lady. So
yeah, yep.
Anna,
the old grandma's gonna be dead.
She's gonna be dead. Yeah. The robots will look rustier.
And then there's gonna be some character reworks. For example, like May's for like freeze is not gonna slow you, or no, it's going to slow you, but it's not going to freeze you. Like, you won't turn solid frozen. So
okay, that's nice.
Winston, his Tesla cannon is going to be able to shoot like a long range beam with the alternated fire, which is cool. And did they mention another one? I think Zarya's getting 2 bubbles now, because there's only going to be 1 tank on each team. So they're having to like rework a lot of the tanks so that each tank can sort of like stand on their own and support a whole team.
Yeah.
So Zarya is getting like multiple protective bubbles for not only her, but for her team. And I think all the tanks just in general are getting more HP. So
let me ask you this, Jacob, as someone
Sure.
who, I mean, I've played a fair amount of Overwatch too. I'm definitely a fan of the game, but you are pretty well versed beyond Preston and I. How do you feel about all these changes? Because I mean, one could argue like if it ain't broke, don't fix it with Overwatch. Because Overwatch 1 has been refined to a point that I think it works beautifully. Like I don't have any complaints. I don't know the game deeply enough to really complain about anything.
I really don't feel like I do either, to be honest. But
So that's
I can
why I'm
certainly
like,
tell you that not as many people play it anymore as they used to.
Yeah.
Like as a severe player drop off a couple of years ago.
But then again, like it is just a multiplayer game, and it's still like you and I both can say this, even Preston can say this. Going back to it to play it, even for a few matches with friends, is still very fun. I don't think it's bad that people have dropped off. I mean, I think that's natural for mostly any game that's ever been released. I know there are some like legacy multiplayer, famous multiplayer games that just continue to go on and on and on. Sure. But Overwatch obviously still has, to a degree, a pretty strong community. Obviously, it's warranted a sequel. And my thoughts are like, I think all the changes that you're talking about now make sense as to why they've made a sequel, because it sounds like a completely different game. Like it still has its like the heart is still there, but like everything else has been drastically changed.
We're just talking about PvP too. Like that the whole PvE is alongside this too.
Yeah, but I don't even think about that so much. I just think about like what functions in Overwatch, why it works so well, and like why they've chosen to so drastically change it. And the sad thing is too, like I'm gonna play it. I'm sure it's gonna be cool. But the sad thing is for the developers, they can refine this as much as they want in development. We already know they're gonna have to continue to develop the hell out of the game once it launches, because players will find so many issues with it that once the game releases, you can almost call that like beta phase when the full game releases, because they're going to have to refine it like they did with Overwatch 1 for Lord knows how long, because this is completely different from the first one.
Well, I think they've said that the main reason they are doing this is because
they're bored.
It is they're painfully bored.
We just
right
needed
now.
a new challenge, dude. So we took an existing IP that works really well and decided to change everything about it, and in turn, probably frustrating our entire
Piss
community.
everyone off.
Yeah.
No, I think it's been very hard for them to balance the game in terms of like, especially the tanks, and that's particularly why they're reducing the amount of tanks, because I think two really good tanks, especially in like competitive play or like higher levels of play, from what I've noticed, like they just completely control the game. And if like if you can take care of the tanks, everything else just sort of falls into place. But like I think they didn't like how much tanks sort of like have so much control. Maybe I might be wrong in this, maybe because I'm not like the biggest Overwatch guy. I certainly like the game a lot, but I don't. I definitely don't know it as well as nearly a lot of people that play it like every day or that are professionals by any means. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest. It may be like a case where it's sort of like Blizzard or Activision wanting to sort of like streamline the game and making it a little more. It's like 5v5 is typically a little more traditional in terms of like, other multiplayer games. There's been like this rumor where Activision's trying to Call of Duty-ify all their IP and make them all as profitable as Call of Duty is. Whether you want to agree with that or not is up to you. But I really don't know, to be honest. It certainly seems like a lot of people are not happy with the change. So, and it's certainly like if you're a tank player, it's got to be maybe a little more frustrating because there's a little more pressure on you being the only tank. So, will it be easier to keep one tank up? Like if you have just two healers focusing on you, or will it be harder because the whole other team is just focusing you? Is sort of the question, but that can sort of be adjusted with balance, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. Garrett?
Well, did you say they did reveal like a lot of gameplay recently, like PvP?
Yeah, there was a live stream. You could find it on YouTube if you wanted to watch
I'd
it.
like to see like a full uncut match.
You'll see new maps, the new game mode.
Is it like heavily edited, or is it like a full match you can watch?
It's a full match. I mean, they're like talking over like the developers and a few people. So I think you'd enjoy it. Just look on the Play Overwatch YouTube channel. You'll find it.
Well, it's certainly on my radar. I like the first one enough to look forward to the sequel. Is there a release window for this?
Next year.
Okay.
Probably
Makes
in the
sense.
spring, if I had to guess.
Cool.
Well, yeah.
Final Fantasy Origin, Preston, you seem pretty stoked about this.
Yeah, there's not really too much to say because it's
There's not.
technically still
It's just like a headline at this point.
yeah, it's pretty much like a confirmed rumor just because enough people have been talking about it. But just a more action Dark Souls Neo based Final Fantasy game. Sounds
Which I want.
pretty rad to
Could
me.
be cool.
Yeah. So apparently
Sure.
it's supposed to be revealed at some point, the C3. So another supposed to have some sort of PlayStation exclusivity.
Yeah. Team Ninja.
Yeah. So I really enjoy the Neo games. I almost beat it on I almost beat the first one a while back. I actually picked up Neo 2 like 3 or 4 weeks ago and want to get to it at some point. So big fan of those games. And I know this one apparently is not supposed to be as hardcore as those games, kind of more in line with Fallen Order. At least that's what I've read, which would be cool because I really enjoy that combat, and it would be nice to actually like be invested in a story and not be, just constantly throwing yourself at a boss over and over again. I really enjoy that, but it's also nice to, play a game in that vein, but not as hard, which is what I think this game will be. But apparently it's supposed to be super dark, which looks like looks a little bit in line to what we've seen of Final Fantasy 16. So yeah, not too much to say about it, but definitely my ears perked up when I was reading some stuff about this, and it sounds really cool. And in that same vein, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade is coming out the day before Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So,
oh no,
what am I gonna do, guys?
No,
I gotta play that Yuffie DLC. Absolutely have to. Looks phenomenal. And with it being an actual PS5 version of the game, your boy's got to platinum it again. Absolutely
gracious, dude.
Essential, dude. I'll play through that game again, anyways. Freaking,
it's worth playing through again.
Love that game at a higher frame rate. Absolutely. So
it's gonna be stunning for sure.
Definitely tackling that after Rift Apart. I can't imagine Rift Apart taking several weeks to finish. Probably.
Yeah, Rift Apart is gonna be my next platinum without a doubt.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for that one, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're within the 2-week window.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my
And
goodness.
soon.
Dude, that game's coming out the Friday that I'm coming back from Florida, and I'm gonna be doing some local stuff. So very excited to
Dope.
be able to play that game at my home setup.
Oh yeah. Cannot wait to see it on an actual display, not compressed by the internet.
Absolutely.
Very, very excited. And yeah, fingers crossed for that 60 FPS mode too. So
Have faith.
I'm assuming it'll be in there, but they haven't mentioned it, so I could still only hope it's in there.
Yeah, I think it'll be there.
Jacob, I'm just going to repeat what I said, but I want you to go first on your thoughts on the conclusion of Castlevania on Netflix.
No spoilers? Or
yeah,
spoilers?
no spoilers.
Okay. I thought it was a very excellent conclusion to the show. I mean, a part of me wishes that the show never ends, because I just really enjoy every season of the show so much. I enjoy how sort of Dracula was sort of brought back into the. Not that he ever wasn't relevant in the other later seasons, but I like how he was sort of very much in the forefront in terms of the overall narrative at the end. I can't stress to you how much I love Trevor Belmont and what's her name, Scryer, I think her name is. I love their dynamic. I love their chemistry. I love their relationship. Even I just love how they basically teamed up through the whole show, and it's their conclusion in terms of the final battle, and also just their relevance towards each other at the end is sort of very satisfying, and I think it pays off. Really enjoy, what's that half human, half vampire? What's his name, Garrett? Help me here. I forgot his name. Why can't I remember his name?
Can't remember. I don't know. I know while I'm watching the show, but when I'm not watching the show, I can't remember.
Anyway, I enjoy him a lot. I really liked in the season 3, whatever season was the one before this one. I enjoy like the sort of like conflict he was having in terms of like what's he supposed to do now? Like he had suffered a lot. And
Alucard, that's his name.
Alucard, yes, thank you.
Alucard.
And I think he really turns a new page in this new season. I think his conclusion is also very satisfying. He sort of gets over his.
I think he has the most significant arc out of all the characters.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, so does Belmont in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think maybe, what are those guys' names that create like the undead monsters? What are their names? Or like not their names, but like what's their title? What are they again? Forge Masters.
Yeah.
The guy with the gray hair, I think his arc is fairly Hector? Yeah, Hector.
Yeah, he's a cool
I like his
too.
arc a lot.
Yeah,
and also
even the other guy, what's his name? Isaac. Yeah,
both of them, like their whole journey is.
I mean, honestly, dude, every character in the show is so well developed, and their arcs are all really satisfying by the end.
And I think I like the show so much. And I think we made this comparison back when it first came out, but it feels a lot like Game of Thrones in the sense where you have all these multiple storylines playing out at one time, and they sort of connect to each other at some point throughout the show. They don't necessarily all congregate at the end, but each one of those story threads are equally as satisfying in my opinion. And that's why the show is so strong in itself. I don't know if the show would be that good if each one of them were just its own entity, if that makes sense. So I like how everything just sort of like there's this overall conflict, and there's different, I guess minor battles or things taking place throughout the world of this universe, and they all sort of congregate at the end. And I guess I just really like the show. I just think it was really well done. Having never played a single Castlevania game, I know nothing about the universe. I just have the show to go off of. I just enjoyed it a lot.
I also had very little knowledge of the franchise, but I pretty much just echo everything you said. I mean, I think what's so great about the show, I think I could be wrong about this, but I think to me it's evident that all 4 seasons were pretty well planned before they were produced.
Seems like it.
I think that's evidence of not only just how effective the storytelling is, the development of the characters, how well it begins the journey throughout and then concludes is very strong. And the rate at which they produce these 4 seasons. I mean, it came out in 2017, and each year there's been a new season. They haven't been delayed. There hasn't been any production issues. I think it was very obvious. It's obvious that it was very well planned beforehand. And it's wonderful because I know we said this before the episode started, but each season, each episode does not overstay its welcome. It's all a very effective, concise storytelling. There's a lot of like wild elements that make it really interesting, but just the way they tell the story, the way they develop these characters is just so well done and focused that by the end of the series, it was just the perfect amount of content. I feel like that rewatching the show from beginning to end will be so satisfying and so much fun to watch it again. One, because visually the action is just insane and so gorgeously animated that alone is fun to rewatch again. But they did such a great job with the story and characters that makes it worth it, which is the great shame of Game of Thrones that we were talking about, is that the show ends so poorly that I can't imagine ever going to like get back to the beginning and watching it from beginning to end. I may rewatch an episode, I may rewatch some bits and pieces on YouTube, but I have no desire to watch it from beginning to end again because it ended so badly. And that's all the more evidenced by how well this was done. I know they have nothing to do with each other, but this is just a great example of how effective like television can be and the mediums of episodic content can be when it's done this well. Yeah. So I know Preston hasn't watched Castlevania, but I cannot recommend it enough to Preston or anyone who likes just really great animated content. It's not really an anime.
I don't see why Preston wouldn't like it.
I think Preston would love it when he eventually gets to it. I hope Preston does someday because it is phenomenal. But man, I loved it, dude. I'll probably rewatch it again at some point. I mean, there's plenty
Maybe
of other content to watch.
maybe after I watch Sword Art for the 5th time, I'll get to it.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
You can't even finish it.
Yeah, just keep restarting it.
I did rewatch the very first season. I think at some point this year. I think it was early this year. I rewatched it.
Hell yeah.
Still really good. I'd rewatch that season over and over again if I. Well, I guess I could, but
I don't know. Every time I watch it,
I never get sick of it.
You know, I enjoy all of Sword Art, but every time I watch the first season, I'm like, man, what could have been?
Yeah.
Still like the rest though.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah,
Castlevania was killer,
I'll get to
dude.
Castlevania.
Awesome freaking show. And dude, the conclusion is just, not only is it satisfying, but it is
It's epic.
insane, dude. Visually in action, like it's so good, but also just mind-boggling how crazy it is. That I just was like, just shocked by it. I was like, goodness gracious, that was insane, but I loved it. So amazing show. So yeah, it's the animation studio that did Blood of Zeus. It's not the same writers or directors or showrunners, but Blood of Zeus is a kind of a cool show. It's just visually as cool as Castlevania, but I cannot wait to see what that showrunner does next because he freaking killed it with Castlevania.
I think he said what he's doing. I just forget what it was.
Like, man, talk about just absolutely nailing a series. Like, I don't have a single complaint about it. It's phenomenal. But I'm running out of time, so we'll kind of jump to Ask OG in a second. But just brief thoughts, Preston. I know I've finished Invincible. You have not finished Invincible yet?
I have not. In fact, I have not watched a single episode since we talked about it.
Since we talked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was using that as my flight watching.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good term to use. I was watching that show as I flew in an airplane, not actually fly, like in an airplane.
Yeah.
And I am hopping on an airplane again tomorrow, so I will probably get an episode or two. Then I have to fly from Washington all the way down to Fort Lauderdale, which is probably going to be like a almost 4-hour flight.
Get a couple episodes in. At least.
So I'll definitely probably be able to finish the series. The first season.
What's it about?
It's based on a comic series that's been around since 2011 or something.
Don't look up anything. Just watch it.
Don't look up anything. Yeah, just watch the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is crucial. You don't know anything about this show.
Yeah. The only thing I knew about it was that it's the same writer of Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman. And for years, I'd heard about Invincible, the comic series. I just never looked at any of the content. Because they were trying to do a live action movie or show for a long time, and Zac Efron was attached to play the lead character. But I guess it fell through, or it's just still stuck in development hell. But I'm glad they did this animation because it is also outstanding. Loved every single episode. Loved the characters. Loved the story. Loved the world. So I cannot wait to see what they do next. But the action, especially in violence in that show, is just over the top.
So I told my uncle to watch the show, and I checked in with him like in the next day or two. It's like, yeah, so you watched that first episode? He's like, yeah, we got like halfway through it. We didn't finish it though. Like,
halfway through it.
Okay. So you should finish that episode.
Yeah, that first episode is totally by design. They intentionally make
that's
it
why
one
I don't
way
even want
and
to
shock
say.
you at the end.
I think you're saying too much now.
Yeah.
Just watch the show, Jacob. It's good.
Yeah. At least watch the first episode if you're not hooked.
Yeah.
Whatever, but I think you'll be hooked out of the first episode.
You need to finish the first episode. I think that is, that's a requirement for this show, is to finish the first episode. So.
Awesome show. Highly recommend that as well.
Yeah.
I've in fact enjoyed more animated shows than I have live action recently. So.
Well, I guess you're just some sort of weeb then, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's not all anime. These are all like just animations. So.
Batman.
I'm just a cartoon fan, I guess. Oh yeah, there's a new animated Batman series called Cape Crusader coming from Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams on HBO Max.
I heard about that.
So pretty stoked to see what that's all about. Anyway, because I've exhausted every animation of Batman on HBO Max besides Batman Beyond. So I've seen all of them. I got to watch The Long Halloween. I'm assuming that'll eventually come to HBO Max. I hope it does because I'd love to see it.
Don't get it confused with Adam Sandler's hit Netflix comedy,
Huey's
Halloween, or whatever it's called. Have you seen that?
No.
I watched it.
Is it pretty good?
I watched it. No. It is.
Okay.
It is not. It's
Bummer.
No.
It's pretty awful. And
the dichotomy of Adam Sandler is fascinating to me because he can blow a role out of the park like he did in Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
And being like a critically acclaimed film like that, and then go do something like Huey Halloween.
Adam Sandler has some MTV representative's child held hostage. Because that's the only reason I can think of for them to play Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2 essentially every day for the past like several months.
It must get good viewership.
It's completely unnecessary, and quite frankly, it offends me. Because Grown Ups 2 is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It is truly
I don't think either one are particularly that good.
Atrocious. Grown Ups 1 is bad, but it's not as bad as 2. 2
I haven't
is
seen 2. I remember the trailer being cringy enough.
2 is a cringe fest, dude. It is, and I like Adam Sandler.
And you like cringe.
Yeah. So this should be a match made in heaven for me, but it's too much. It's too much, and it worries me that. And you're probably thinking, Preston, how do you even know this is on? It's on because my parents turn it on, and every time I walk in my living room and that stupid movie is on, it's just like, what is wrong with you people? Why are you watching Grown Ups 2 for the 50th time this week?
Yeah, dude.
That's like a comfort film.
I'm glad your parents
like a
also
comfort
watch
film.
the same things over and over again like mine do.
Awful. It is so bad, and the only reason I'm saying it is because I've analyzed this movie. I've seen it so many times, and I just quite frankly can't take it anymore. And there has to be some sort of shenanigans going on for this movie to be played on TV as much as it is. It's too much. It's unnecessary, and quite frankly, I can't take it anymore. So
I watched Signs again the other night. It's like the 4th time I've watched it in the last 3 months.
Wow.
What? You got a problem.
What do you think about this new Shyamalan movie, Old?
I haven't seen the full trailer. I've only seen the teaser, so I'm not sure.
I am intrigued by it. The full trailer I thought was really good. But this could be also.
I almost don't want to watch it.
Yeah, it's like it's going to ruin it for me because
I haven't even watched the final trailer for A Quiet Place Part 2. I just rewatched Quiet Place again since the first time since I saw it in theaters.
Oh yeah,
it's an awesome movie, and I've heard the sequel's excellent. So I'm very excited to see the sequel.
I'm worried about just the trailer being better than the movie because I thought that The Happening, the trailer for that, was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the thing. Shyamalan hasn't done anything as bad. He's been on a good track even since The Visit. The Visit's pretty silly.
Visit is great.
Yeah, that's a fun movie. There's a really fun twist in that. It's kind of like a horror comedy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a really good job with that.
Dude,
and then,
The Visit is scary. There's
some creepy stuff.
There's some creepy moments. Maybe creepy is a better word. There's some creepy moments in that movie.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good twist too. I think Split's really good. I didn't like Glass as much, but I thought Split was good. What else did he do? He did one other one, I thought. Am I overthinking it?
He did some like Apple series, didn't he?
Oh yeah, I've heard that series is pretty good. I just haven't watched it. It's called like I can't remember the name of it, but I've heard it's pretty good. So, but I'm excited to see what Old's all about.
Yeah,
he seems like he's been on the right track again.
The comments of the Old trailer are interesting because people just guessing what the twist is, and one of them has to be right. So I probably already know the twist and I'm unaware.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't want to look into any of it. I just want to be surprised. I also rewatched Sixth Sense right after Signs the other night, and that movie is still like, that's a timeless movie, dude. I know that's like one of the most classic movie twists of all time, but it's still just, that whole movie is, and just even the deeper themes of that movie are phenomenal. And the way it's directed, the way it's acted, the way it's shot is just phenomenal. Like, man, Shyamalan really does have a gift that he is kind of neglected, I guess. Or I don't know what happened in his like lull phase with all those wacky, ridiculous, big budget movies he did, but he seems to be back on track again. So I'm very excited to see what he does next with Old. I got to watch his series at some point. Anyway, Ask IOG. Ask IOG is the part of the show where we answer your questions submitted through any of our social media at ItsObviousGaming, the Ask IOG section of our Discord channel, or email to us at itsobviousgaming@gmail.com. And always include the hashtag AskIOG if you want your question read live on the show. Question 1 comes from Jivcub7. Is there a franchise or game you could replay for the first time? If you could play one for the first time, again, what would it be? I butchered that question, but we've been asked this a few times over the years, and my answer typically changes, I think. I really love Mass Effect. I don't know if I'd say that's one I want to replay for the first time, not knowing anything. Because
I kind of feel like this is the first time in a sense.
For the first one especially, I mean, I remembered a lot of the set pieces, but the story and deeper themes and characters I had overlooked as a kid. So that felt like
for a game that I've probably beaten. I think I got all the achievements on Xbox. Like for a game I've played quite a bit. I know nothing about this thing.
Yeah. Gamer friend, I wouldn't mind replaying God of War probably for the first time again.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It's easy to say like really narrative driven games, but I'm trying to think of one of like gameplay, playing it for the first time that really like blew my mind.
I used to say Fallout 3, but I think a lot has to come with this forget. Like if I just forgot Fallout 3 with all my experience in games that I have now
beyond it, yeah,
it probably would mean nothing to me, honestly.
Same,
at the place of time, or like the stage of like gaming I was in, where having almost no experience with RPGs and open world games for that matter, it just was extremely impactful on me. And I still do think I would enjoy that game, because I do think it is still excellent. And I don't necessarily think it aged well, but the stories and the missions or quests and stuff you go on, I do think hold up today. But yeah, I think it would have to be something narrative, probably like probably Last of Us 1 and 2. I would like to experience those again.
That's a good one.
For sure.
For me, maybe Breath of the Wild. Yeah, that would be quite a treat.
That's a good one
to go back through.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That is a good one. I actually might steal that answer. I think I would. That'd probably be the one I would pick, just to have that massive.
Yeah, like walking out of the tutorial zone and like just having everything available to you.
Yeah, that is special, dude.
Mm-hmm. That game,
I would have probably replayed a portion of it had my Switch not been lost on that plane, because I just don't want to buy it again.
That game gave me the magical tingles that I get every few years, where I'm like, wow, this is something.
I don't think I'd remind playing Insomniac Spider-Man again for the first time, because that delivered in every way I'd always dreamed a Spider-Man game would the first time I played it. Every single way. I think Miles Morales kicks that game's ass gameplay wise, but
it does.
At the time, like that was everything I ever wanted a Spider-Man game to be. So
dude,
that's
Spider-Man 2
unbelievably
is going
excited
to
for the second
blow
one. Oh yeah,
me away.
It's going to be a shockwave of on the games industry. I think it's going to really blow people's minds.
Just being able to play. And of course, this is all like rumors I've read or like speculation, but there's no way we're not playing as both Miles and Spider-Man.
Oh, totally.
And
dude. I think they're going to end up fighting each other in the game too.
Oh man, black suit Spider-Man against Miles. Let's
exactly.
go.
I think that's going to be a big narrative arc, and at the end, Miles Morales is going to have to fight Peter Parker.
You're spoiling the game out here.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they killed Peter Parker. I would not even be surprised.
Dude, Spider-Man's going to murder Mary Jane, realize what he's done, and just throw himself off a building and not save himself.
Yeah.
No,
that's the thing, too, is that Miles Morales, is as great as it is like harnessing 1% of the PS5's power, I feel like. So I cannot wait. I think even Miles Morales will pale in comparison to the sequel overall. So cannot wait. That'd be my answer for now. I could probably say a lot of things, but presently, that's my answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick
Carlos
with Breath of the
Perez writes in and says, "What's good, Eogs? Hey, Eog, hey, Eog. Wanted to know how you guys feel about reviews. Do you guys have a trusted source like IGN, for example, that gives scores, or do you guys base judgment upon buying a game on that score, or do you guys buy it no matter the score and judge for yourself?" I rarely nowadays let any reviewer, even if it's like an influencer, for example, like Skill Up, really dictate my interest in a game. I mean, I certainly value certain people's opinions on games that I typically might. Usually, reviewers I really stick with are reviewers that my values and interests and tastes sort of align with. So that way I can know if I can like really trust the perception of whatever they're playing. But I oftentimes, if it's a game I'm like, for example, if the Ratchet and Clank reviews come out, I think it's easy to say that game is minimum a 9. Minimum, easy. I'm just looking at it from afar,
so?
like that's at least a 9.
I think minimum probably like an 8.
So I think some outlets will probably give it an 8.
Maybe a 7.
No way.
No way, dude.
No way.
That game's bare minimum.
Hey, it gets strong narrative.
Bare minimum 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, 88 at the lowest. But that being said, someone could be like, this game's a 5, and it looks so good. Even if it's someone I deeply trust as a reviewer, I'm still going to play it. I know it's easy. Again, someone could be like, you're just a Sony fanboy. Of course you're going to play it.
True.
But pretending it's not even Sony. Like I can even think of some like franchises Xbox is going to have. Like Halo Infinite could finally come out. People say it's awful. I'm like, I still have to play it because it's Halo.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have enough interest, even from an initial gameplay demo or something, that's going to warrant me wanting to play it.
I think this week, actually, that this question kind of relates to a release that happened this week with Biomutant, because I have been interested in that game for a while. It's always, looked cool. I've had it on my list of games to watch out for, and the reviews kept me from buying it or even caring about it, for that matter, just because it was so like unanimously average, or at best average, at worst just not good. So that was definitely a game that I probably would have bought if people were a little more positive on, or talked about positively. And I mainly follow like some influencers like Skill Up, Jake Baldino, a few other guys that I can't think of right now, but I mean, I follow the scores as well. I'll watch an IGN review. I'll read them. Just kind of, I like to go through Metacritic and not necessarily look at the score, but just kind of go through all the reviewers and kind of read the blurs of what they've said to see what similar things they've said, what different things they've said. Biomutant was really interesting because there were some review sites saying that they enjoyed the combat, and others were completely saying they hated the combat. So that definitely is a divisive game, to which THQ actually took 2 quotes and tweeted this out. One quote saying like the combat's fun, and the next one saying the combat sucks, pretty much. And they did like a GIF with it, which I thought was pretty interesting for a publisher to put that out about, or put a tweet out like that for their games. The Biomutant Twitter page was just like, we want you guys to play it for yourself and come to a decision. And I'm like, I'm not dropping $60 to see if I maybe like this game, because the reviews are a little divisive.
Yeah, I will say when reviews are pretty unanimous on particular features in games that they feel like aren't strong, that will usually influence me. If it's just 1 or 2 and like the vast majority are saying something different, it's different for me. But if like everyone's collectively saying kind of the same thing, that will influence whether or not I pick up a game.
And it's and for instance, Greedfall didn't get a lot of good reviews. Let's take it even farther back. Technomancer. I don't think anybody said like hardly anything positive about that game, but that game,
I think you're the only one that said anything about it.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person on the internet that talks about that game. But the setting and that game just intrigued me, and I think I bought that game at full price. I got it around the time it came out, and I gave it a chance. Is it a good game? Not really. I still like it, though. It kind of struck a chord with me. So I understand Biomutant might strike a chord with me. But, so I guess I could technically like it. But I guess it kind of just... it depends on kind of like your initial, like your viewing of the game, your viewing of the trailers, people that you trust and stuff. If people you trust still don't like the game and you still feel like this is the type of game that you would be interested in, then maybe at that point, take the plunge or, wait for a sale. But I guess when it comes back to the question, like, I do let reviews. And is that the question? Is do you let reviews influence your purchase?
Do you guys have do you have a trusted source?
Oh,
and
gosh,
do you let scores base your judgment? I don't have a one go-to trusted source. There's not one person that I've always agreed with 100%. Same.
In fact, there are people that I used to think that way that will straight up, a game will come out and they're like, I hate this. I'm like, holy crap, I love this game. Like, I have no clue what you're talking about. So I think it's good to have just
like Last of Us, for example. Some people like really hate that game.
Yeah, like
Last of Us 2.
Moist Critical, for instance. We were just talking about him. He hated that game. Like his review,
but I adore it.
Which I think hate might be strong. I think he gave it like a 6 out of 10. And when I watched his review, all the points he was making, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that's what makes it good. Like, everything you're saying is why I like it.
Yeah, there are situations like that for me too.
So, that's why I like to find a group of people and just kind of like to see what their opinions are. But I mean, honestly, for the most part, I think we're to a point where you can, for the most part, and I want to say for the most part, because a lot of people got burned with CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk, but we, for the most part, know the quality of a game based on what developer is putting it out. And you can, like, Insomniac, for instance, like and of course, there could be the rare instance where Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart isn't that good, but I mean, I would put money down that game is going to be fantastic. I would put money.
There's a trust built.
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't even have to read reviews for that game. I'm buying it. Whatever sucker.
Like, people bought Cyberpunk because Witcher was so incredible. Like, it's
dude.
like
I went on media blackout from Cyberpunk. I was like, I'm buying this game because I know it's good. The day before, I was like, holy crap, we are getting a brand new CD Projekt Red game tomorrow. This is insane. Like, why am I not hyped up about this? But
that's where controversy comes in. Because even before that game came out, there was some controversy.
Yeah, but
around the company.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot goes into it, but yeah, I say get. I don't know. I like to have a bunch of people to follow and kind of compare what they say.
Yeah, I think you.
Or some friends, dude. Your friends, like me and Garrett, have extremely similar tastes in games. So if he gets access to a game early and stuff and tells me like, drop out, then I don't even need to read any other review. Like I'm not even gonna look into it anymore. So
I will say one reviewer and just sort of influencer that I have most often aligned with is Jake Baldino. I feel like he and I are kindred spirits too. Some of the memes he shares and a lot of the jokes he makes about certain franchises and nostalgic things are so similar to my own taste and memories that I feel like we were separated at birth or something. So I don't always agree fully with his thoughts on games, but 99% of the time he and I share very similar thoughts on games, which is cool. So, but again, like, final answer for me is I don't entirely rely on one person's perspective or one outlet's perspective, but collectively, if they all are saying similar things, that will dictate me investing or not in a certain game. So
I will say the only thing I probably would look a little more into game-wise, if Garrett somehow got to review Persona 6 and he couldn't get past 10 hours and said it sucked, I'd still check it out.
Oh yeah,
he wouldn't. Well, Garrett, it is noon. Do you want to maybe save some questions for next time? Do you need to go?
We're going to save Kyle's because it's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good one, though. I think it's worth answering. We'll save it for next episode. I'd like it for it to be a goal of us to do an episode next week. I can make it happen, I think. Just like, E3 predictions and stuff, what we'd like to see, stuff like that.
It might be tricky for me, but we'll see.
Preston, when are you coming back in town? Friday, or are you going to be out of town next weekend?
I am flying to Florida at some point, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I don't know yet, from Washington.
Okay. Would you even be able to record a podcast in Washington?
I think if I bring my headset, I should be able to.
I don't think I'll be able to do it next weekend unless we do it like Saturday afternoon. I'm going to be gone like from Saturday night till potentially Monday.
Okay, we're doing Kyle's question then. Kyle writes and says, how's it going, boys? I hope you all are doing good and adjusting back to normal lives now that the pandemic is gearing down out of its crazy phase, I'll say. News recently has come out that Ubisoft is still having issues in their office conduct and have put more people on leave for misconduct charges. Because of this rather upsetting news still going on, people have come up with the hashtag, quote, hold Ubisoft accountable. What are your thoughts on the relationship between consumers and the morally defunct practices of the businesses we support? Should we as gamers, the most oppressed race, rise up and hold them accountable by holding financial support, or is that something that will never be possible because of the wide range of people that support companies like Ubisoft? Are you of the mindset that you don't care about the conditions the games are made in as long as they are good? The consumer-producer relations have always been interesting to me in the video game space, with how lenient some communities can get with the bull that gets thrown at them. Blah, 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 something about anime and it being really good. Insert random really good current show here. All jokes aside, check out To Your Eternity. It's been incredibly good. It's been an incredibly good show so far.
This is a complex question.
I actually have an answer, I think. Obviously, I don't think it's clear that not every single Ubisoft employee, every executive, every producer is having these issues. I mean, of course, there are the people that are. But in terms of holding a company accountable, of course, if people are still getting away with these actions, like I would say hold them accountable in the sense of calling it out, addressing it, resolving it. But financially speaking, not that I can't ever imagine an entire community of Ubisoft fans collectively deciding not to play Ubisoft games until this is entirely eradicated. But that being said, I think it's silly to want to do that anyway, because why punish the many for the actions of a few? I always hated, for example, when I was in school, I'd have like a teacher that would say, because so-and-so talked during silent time, all of you get extra homework, or all of you have 20 minutes off of recess. I'm like, I've always hated like corporate punishment for someone else's actions. So I would never want to contribute to like a hold Ubisoft accountable financially, because I wouldn't want to punish the majority for the actions of a few personally.
I mean, I think it just comes down to what is happening. Like if the issue is so like heinous, whatever you say the word. Heinous. Thank you.
Like anus.
I guess.
Yeah, heinous anus.
If the action is so awful that it offends you personally, like, and if that happens on a huge, like a large scale, then that's certainly the only way that people are not going to buy the game. And like, I don't know if we've really gotten to that point with anyone. Like, even with, in the whole Blitzchung thing with Blizzard, like people still, kept playing their games. They still, like, nothing really happened from that. Like, and it was a big thing. Like the whole industry was talking about it. Like, and I don't know where that sort of threshold is. Like, how bad does something have to be within the company for someone, or like most of the fans should just not buy the game? Like, I don't know where that line is, or if it even is a thing. Because at the end of the day, like most people that play games, like they don't care. They don't care about any of that. They just care about the game.
I don't even necessarily think they care. I think a lot of people just don't know. I mean, there could be like the most obscene things happening in EA right now, and people are still going to go buy Madden and stuff. They would have no clue.
Yeah, because like a lot of like the greater beyond the gaming world that we're pretty connected to. are invested in, there's such a wider audience that just has no clue.
I mean, if you would
it's like
just
the joke Preston and I make, like, oh, dude, there's a new Madden this year. Whoa.
it's like,
oh, dude, Skyrim 2's coming out.
Call of Duty.
people hate on Call of. I mean, I don't think I've ever read a positive comment about Call of Duty online. And it's the best selling game like every year. Fortnite, dude, Fortnite's dead, dude. Fortnite sucks. Okay, they're just trucking
Raking in the
along, making
billions
another
still.
like $1 trillion every week.
Adding every character from any franchise ever to the game.
I mean, we live in this like entirely like small
Echo
bubble
chamber
that we think is like so
The
much
entirety
more, like,
of the gaming world.
exactly. That's not the case. But in terms of the question, like I definitely like agree with what Garrett says. Like, why would you punish people that put their heart and soul into a product that you want to buy because of the actions that some people made? But I mean, it's hard, dude, because I mean, that's if there is some stuff, and I'm not up to date on this Ubisoft stuff at all. I didn't even know that was. I remember that there were some issues a while back. I know they fired some people, like the director behind Valhalla got laid off because of some issues. But if there's something going on and like Ubisoft isn't addressing it, and it's like continuously being called out in the media or by employees and stuff, then I mean, I wouldn't fault somebody for not wanting to support a company that's not willing to fix like serious issues like sexual harassment or things on that level. And
it's like, certainly if you're a person that sort of like deals with those issues like in your own life, like if your own workplace is like that, it's going to be a lot more important to you. That doesn't happen for things that you support.
Yeah, so it definitely can get complicated. I think I'm more lenient on the, and I don't really want to get into it. I've had discussions with people on Discord and stuff about this, and I definitely think this is something we'll just have to agree to disagree on. But when it comes to the whole like crunch stuff, that stuff doesn't faze me like at all, really, for the most part. Like not wanting to support studios that crunch and stuff, because I think it's just a lot of like I might perceive crunch differently than somebody else, and there's just a lot that goes into crunch, like opinions that goes into it, whereas like sexually harassing your coworkers and stuff is pretty cut and dry right there. Like that's absolutely unacceptable, like for sure. So, but just pertaining to that, it's I don't know. I don't know. It's a really complicated issue. I mean, I don't want to buy any Ubisoft games because Valhalla offended me so hard that it makes me not just want to buy Ubisoft games, period.
Oh, so you're not playing Far Cry 6
that
then?
And I'll see that. I'm gonna wait for the reviews for that one, but it's I got burned by Legion and Valhalla, so I'm definitely, and they won't bring back Splinter Cell, so they're already on my crap list right now. We'll see how the Sands of Time remake goes and how Far Cry 6 turns out.
Yeah. That's the first remake, I think, so far that I've actually had genuine concerns about.
Yeah.
I haven't played a Ubisoft game since Far Cry 5.
Guys, let's just... Splinter Cell's dead. Sam Fisher is dead, and that's it's the saddest thing of all time, dude. I can't take it.
Dead
At least it went out on a high note. Blacklist is a killer game.
It is, but it's just...
It was a killer game. It killed the franchise.
I can't even like bring myself to play Chaos Theory or anything like that again, because it's too much for me. It's too depressing knowing that like we're never gonna get this again.
I get overcome.
We'll get stealth games. Like I love Dishonored. I'm gonna try and play Deathloop as stealthy as possible. I hope we can get another Deus Ex. Like I love any type of stealth I can get at this point, but the true like shadow meter, noise level, hardcore tactical stealth genre is dead, and it's so sad. I just hope some small like indie group that has a passion for Splinter Cell can like start some Kickstarter and make something to that level. Speaking of stealth games, Garrett, I need to send you a trailer for a new stealth game coming out that is co-op. Excellent. And it looks awesome.
Cool. Dude, we still got to finish It Takes Two.
Yeah, we do.
One of these days. We've been busy with everything else. We're busy with stuff I'd rather play, as excellent as It Takes Two is. Play that again at some point.
For sure.
Sam Harris writes in and says, "Bros, what's happening? I've been doing pretty well in life. I'm almost ready to join the military. Congrats, my friend."
Yeah, congrats.
So this week I'll be flying for the first time by myself. What are some of your first-timer tips? What are your favorite flight-related memories? What's the furthest you've flown? Can't wait to hear your answers. Have a fantastic week. Roll Tide! First-time tips. Lean your seat all the way back the entire flight. Wear a three-piece suit. Don't remove your electronics from your bag in the TSA line. Trying to think of some other tips.
Bring a firearm with you.
Yeah, bring all your weapons in your bag.
Jesus.
Check as many bags as you can before you get on the plane. Just be a complete asshole to the.
In fact, bring all your luggage onto the plane. Don't put it in the.
Yeah. Argue with the people at the gate about bringing all your bags onto the plane. Voice your complaints very loudly and rudely to the flight attendants. I'm trying to think of every annoying person I've ever encountered in the airport.
Act like a victim.
Yeah. This is probably the best tips I can think of for your first time. Hopefully you do take that as sarcasm and do the direct opposite of all those things.
Why is Sam Harris a Roll Tide fan?
There's not. I don't even know if there are any tips for for flying. You kind of just have to do it. The biggest hassle is actually getting to the flight, depending on what. Yeah. Thankfully, like we fly out of Hartsfield, which I can say I've been to enough airports to say confidently that Hartsfield is better than 99.9% of airports.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Like,
and to also double down on that, Delta is infinitely better than every other airline. And now there's some international airlines that are phenomenal, like Korean Air is incredible. But Delta is night and day drastically better in every way.
Within the past year, I've flown with 90% of the time I fly with Delta for work, but there have been some rare occasions where I've had to fly with American. Yeah. One very rare occasion was Spirit, and that was horrific.
Dude, they both
so
suck.
bad.
They are so bad.
But yeah, both of those suck. Delta's excellent. Going through Hartsfield is just super easy. But it is for the first time, especially make sure you get there 2 hours before your flight takes off. Because
especially for your first flight.
Yes, because
by yourself.
It's going to be very like.
Because I'm pretty sure Sam's flown before, just not by himself.
Oh, well.
I think.
I don't know.
I could be wrong about that.
Well,
he says, what are some first-timer tips?
Yeah, that sounds like a...
Well, it depends on how you phrase the sentence. He said, I'll be flying for the first time by myself. Or would it sound different if he said, I'll be flying by myself for the first time?
If he's already flown before, I don't know what he even needs tips for.
Well, let's say he hasn't flown before. I don't know.
Then if he hasn't flown before, he needs to get there 2 hours before takeoff, maybe earlier. And
depending what time your flight
is. And
is.
it depends on the airport, too.
Yeah. Well, just know that...
And the time of day of the week.
I guess for us at Hartsfield, because that is like such a massive airport and there's always people there, 2 hours is like a minimum to get there.
You got to take into account of going through the city.
Yeah. Whereas in Fort Lauderdale, when I've flown out of there, I show up like 40 minutes before my flight takes off because there's like nobody's ever there. So that's not a big deal. But just enough time to where going through security check, getting to your terminal... just you're not stressed, you're not like freaking out trying to
that's the worst
to
thing.
get there. In terms of actual flying, like maybe grab a beverage or something before you hop on if you're feeling a little nervous. Check out a bar, get a drink or two. Preload your phone with some goodies just in case there's no
some tunes,
in-flight entertainment.
Shows.
Yeah, tune shows. Yeah, that's really all there is to it.
If you got a Switch, bring the Switch. Just don't leave it in the seat pocket in front of you. Don't get distracted by the girl sitting next to you. Oh man.
Yeah, just buckle up for the ride. It's not bad.
What's the furthest you guys have flown?
Colorado.
Mine is still Oregon.
Nice.
Yeah. You've flown like across the world.
Yeah, I've flown to South Korea as the furthest flight I've taken. It was 15 hours. Now, to get all the way to the Philippines, it was about 22-hour journey, just between layovers and multiple flights. But furthest I've flown in just one sitting was South Korea. It was 15 hours in Korean Air. Phenomenal airline. Absolutely tremendous. And the coolest part about their flight attendants is where they were fluently bilingual. So they would be I forgive me, I'm not very cultured. I assume they're speaking Korean. Yeah, they were speaking Korean to the natives on this flight. And they would immediately turn to me and in perfect English ask, like, what would you like to eat, sir? Well, like, it blew my mind how fluently bilingual they were. Planes are super clean. It's awesome. If you ever get to fly Korean Air, and their slogan is excellence in flight. And it absolutely exceeds that slogan. So, great airline. I flew Delta to London. That was a fun experience. One quick fun story. I could tell a lot of funny plane stories, but on the way back, I had a really cool encounter with an English native who was plastered drunk for the majority of the flight, but he kept throwing back little bottles of rum. And this is a just timeless memory from a flight, but he had so much rum that when the flight attendant came back by, this is an 8-hour flight on the way back to the U.S., he goes, hey, can I get another spot of rum? And the flight attendant, like from down the aisle, is like, you've drunk us dry, mate. You've drunk us dry. And he goes, why is the rum gone? Like 6 rows of people start laughing. It was like the timing of it was so witty and perfect. It was hilarious. Never
was he like
that.
upset or was he like just
he was laughing about it.
Okay.
He and I had pretty incredible conversations, and I'll tell the story some other time. It really is an awesome story, but the moment he sat down, I think he'd already been drinking before we even took off, but the moment he sat down next to me, he immediately started talking to me, and I knew it was going to be like, I'm going to end up talking to this guy the whole flight. Talking for like 6 hours out of the 8 hours we were on that plane. He finally fell asleep, but talked to him for about 6 hours on that flight.
Jeez.
So, good times. Big Finales from Big Colt says, have you ever eaten a meal so large or unhealthy that you Big Colt's questions, dude, are so good that you regretted it and possibly consider it rock bottom in your life? This was me most nights last week. I absolutely have, dude.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely have.
Almost any meal that I eat right before bed, I regret it.
This sounds like Preston every weekend where it's like, dude, I had like a whole pizza, like 12 chicken tenders, a cake, 4 donuts, ice cream.
For some reason, I felt awful.
He goes crazy.
I don't know if I talked about it on here, but I ate myself so silly one weekend that I have not even come close to it in about 5 or 6 weeks because of how horrendous I felt, and I can't feel that way ever again. Can't remember if I talked about it, but if I haven't, I'll tell you what I ate in one day. So I woke up on a Saturday. I'm in a hotel all by myself, and I was like, I'm gonna treat myself today. So there was a donut shop down the street, and they were selling.
Treat yourself, king.
They were selling like these little mini donuts. You could get a thing of like 16 of them. So I DoorDashed 16 of these mini donuts, and every single one I got like a different flavor. So just a cacophony of just deliciousness. Mm-hmm. And I ate all of them, and they were fantastic. So then
that's already something I would never do, by the way.
Oh, I mean, you think I'm just going to sit in a hotel room with donuts and not eat every single one of them? That's impossible.
There's 16.
Yeah, they're
are they like this big?
No, they're like this big, dude. They're tiny.
They're even smaller.
Oh, yeah, they're tiny.
So are they holes?
No, they're like just mini donuts. Okay. Very small, dude. Like one bite them, like you could probably stick 2 or 3 in your mouth at a time. Not a big deal. You could easily eat them in one sitting. So ate those, went to Publix for some stuff or whatever. Ended up buying a Publix made brookie there, which is 4 pieces of this brookie. Then I bought a pint of Halo Top as well. And then on my way out of the Publix, there was a Dunkin' Donuts right there, and was like, you know what?
You should not get more.
I got to get me a treat for the ride home. So I bought 3 donuts from Dunkin' Donuts and ate all of them on my way back to the hotel room.
You were insane.
Get to the hotel room, and this was Georgia's spring game day as well. So I was, I'm ordering a pizza to watch football. So right when I get back, my pizza arrives like 5 minutes later. I got a large pepperoni pizza with 8 boneless wings. So I down that, no problem. Eat the entire.
You ate all of it?
Yeah, I ate the whole
Jeez.
pizza. Ate 8 wings. I ate the entire brookie, all 4 pieces, with the pint of ice cream I had with it. And then, of course, I ate the 3 donuts all before, like I said, I got back to the hotel. So I felt pretty good. I was like, you know what? That's probably enough for today. As night came, I started getting a little bit hungry. So I DoorDashed a Chili's triple dipper, which they messed up. I wanted 3 things. I forgot what they were, but they ended up giving me 2 orders of boneless wings and some onion rings. So I ate all of that. Then I ordered a chocolate molten cake, and I ate that as well.
This is all in
Yeah.
advance.
There's no way this happened.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Dude, I
How-
told
how
you he's
much
a
money did
monster
you
on his
spend?
cheat days.
I get food money when I'm out of town. I'm good. I get like $75 a day for food, so I'm good.
What?
Yeah. I can eat when I'm out of town, man. I'm eating good.
No wonder.
Yeah. So this was like at 5 or 6. I ate this. So around 8 o'clock comes around. I'm still hungry. So I go to Taco Bell /KFC.
Goodness gracious,
and I get a
dude.
tenders meal with like fries and tenders, and then a bunch of Taco Bell stuff like a quesadilla, cheesy gordita crunch wrap, and a nachos Bel Grande. Actually, I did not get a gordita crunch. I got a quesadilla, a nachos Bel Grande, and something else, something smaller, but also with chicken tenders. Came back, ate all that, and then I was thinking about those donuts earlier in the day and wanted to try out the actual full-size donuts from that place. So I ordered half a dozen full-size donuts to be delivered. And about the time I was finishing up the final donut, I've never felt worse in my entire life. I thought I was going to die. I could not lay down. Like the act of like sitting or laying down, I felt like there was some alien inside of me trying to break out. So
I think what you concocted in there might have been an alien.
perhaps. So I went to go throw up. I was like, I have to throw up. This is I can't believe I've even done this to myself. And I could not throw up. I didn't want to throw up. I just was there. I was like, if this happens, I'm going to let it happen. I'm not going to like, hold it back or anything. But also I was not going to make myself throw up. Like I wasn't going to stick my fingers. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, if it happens, it happens. So I just kind of sat there, just kind of hoping it was going to happen, but it didn't.
Trying to heave a little bit.
Yeah. So it just, all that stuff just stayed inside of me. And I guess I digested all of it. And,
Yeah, how many hours were you in pain?
a few. I was able to go to sleep that night. I did not eat anything at all the next day. I literally ate nothing. I just drank water. I was not even remotely hungry for probably the next 2 or 3 days. I think I ate like 500 or 600 calories Monday and Tuesday after that, like hardly anything. And since then, it disgusted me so much. I was so disgusted and ashamed of myself that I even decided that I thought that was a remotely good idea. That, I have not done anything close to that, like the several, since that happened. So yeah, that
until
was
next weekend.
That was probably no, I don't.
I don't even know what to say to you right now.
I have nothing that comes even remotely
was my
close
rock
to
bottom.
that. So
Yeah.
I just tend to overeat sometimes. Like I'll have a couple, like too many slices of pizza or one or two items from Taco Bell that are too much.
That's all I was going to say.
That I just feel bloated for like 3 hours afterward, which sucks.
I think the worst thing is like eating something before you go to bed, then waking up in the middle of the night and having like this awful pain in your stomach. Like, I don't know if you guys that ever happens to you, but like it happened to me about a month ago. And I was like, I just hated myself and I couldn't go back to sleep. I was just in so much pain. I didn't know why. I mean, I knew why. It's because I ate Taco Bell before bed.
I haven't had Taco Bell in a minute. I don't know. I think
I haven't either.
I think that the reason that I craved all of that so much is that I am very restrictive in my eating in terms of like what I eat throughout the week, and I think it finally just caught up with my body, and it just wanted everything on planet Earth that day. So I let it have it, and I think it's afraid now, and it doesn't want it anymore. So
it'll come back.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I don't know if I know that's too much. I should never ever eat that much. But that's if I have a
Oh really? You think that's too much?
Yeah, just a little bit. But if I have a craving and stuff, I'll indulge in it on a day or two a week. But I don't really have too many cravings like that though. For the most part, I have my set diet that I eat the same thing every day and I like it.
Are you still doing that Saturday like cheat day thing?
Not really. If I'm feeling it, I kind of just eat when I'm feeling it. If like a Wednesday I'm like in the mood for something, I'll eat it then. I kind of got to the point where I didn't like having a designated day to pig out because I felt like that would lead me to overeating because I would have this mindset of this is the only day I can eat bad. So I would like eat more food in turn because I was trying to shove as much in as possible. And I found that was just not the smartest thing for me to do. So I'll kind of have like small things throughout the week. So I don't even crave it on the weekends for the most part.
I'm sure.
So
I think I'm kind of at the point where I know like I can eat pretty much anything I want when I want, and I know like when I should stop eating to not like develop a gut.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well, I'm trying so hard to get like I don't even know if like my genetics are going to permit this and for it to be like sustainable, but like I want to get single digit body fat so bad. And it is just like I said, I don't know if my genetics.
You're not there yet?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
I mean, I have like visible abs and stuff, but like I want to get like diced, dude. Like I want to be like peeled, but it's just.
How come?
It's just a goal of mine.
You have a reason?
No, just a goal. But it's so hard. It's so hard. Like I feel like my caloric intake weekly now is pretty low, but I've been at my same. I've been around 150 to 151 pounds now for like months, and I feel like cutting my calories anymore. I'm just starving. So
yeah, it might be.
I think it's kind of. I kind of am where I am right now.
How tall are you?
5'11".
Yeah.
So
that's pretty.
The only thing I can think of is to up my cardio even more. But dude, I walk like
it just takes so much time.
I walk like 20 to 30,000 steps a day. Like that is I'm walking several miles a day. Like I don't know how much more cardio my legs I walk so much that it affects my like actual like leg workouts cuz my legs are just tired, dude. So yeah, I don't know. We've definitely gone off on a tangent here.
Killer way to end the episode.
Yeah.
Preston finished his Pepto. Proud of you.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Jeez.
My
No
gallon.
tummy issues for him this
My
weekend.
gallon for the day. Now I'm just the whole rest of the day is gonna be me peeing every 30 minutes.
I've drank one of these, and you probably drank like 3 of them.
Yep, a gallon here.
Congrats. Well, gentlemen, it was a pleasure as always. Thank you to everyone who wrote in, and it was a lot of fun topics this week. Yeah, it was fun. I'd love to. If by some miracle we can do an episode next week, that'd be great. If not, we can do it the week of E3, weekend of E3.
It's looking unlikely for me, for sure. But
yeah, no worries.
we'll see.
I'm glad we can carry on and doing it, even if there are delays in between each episode. It's always a pleasure, and we're grateful for the continued love and support across the internet, across the world. Hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful, joy-filled week, and full of video games and fun, friends and family, work, whatever you got going on. Wish you the best, and we're grateful to keep up with you guys on Discord and social media and everything. So, gentlemen, if there are any closing thoughts from you, that's it for me.
Go play some Near Replicant and some Mass Effect.
That's what I'll be doing. Mass Effect, anyway.
Can't wait to hear more thoughts from Jacob on Mass Effect.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. I'll be playing a significant amount.
I have a feeling you will have
the following
beaten
weeks.
the first game by the next time I talk to you.
Hopefully.
At least that's what I hope.
Considering we release an episode once a month.
You'll beat the whole trilogy the next time we talk.
All right.
Hopefully it'll only be a couple weeks between this one and the next one.
Cool.
But, yep. Enjoyed the discussion this morning, gentlemen, and have a nice rest of your weekend. Goodbye.
Bye now.